right? It's going to take some time for people to come in anyways. I don't know why it's not focusing for some reason. Just the way it is, I guess.
Unfortunately, a slow start when you come in is a lousy place for a video to...
Well, I mean, the thing... Hello, everybody! Barry's just having a quick bite to eat as you come in. Oops. So I'm just going to show off a few cards while we're waiting. It doesn't even say anyone's in yet, so... But... What is this? You said it's Portal 3 Kingdoms? I probably should have edited that on the thing before starting.
Definitely should have.
Alright, give me a minute. I'm going to just pause this for a minute. I think I can pause it. Can I pause the stream?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I thought... No, okay. Nobody's here yet, so... And Void is busy in another stream right now. So I should have... Just a second. I wonder if I can... Can I? You want to stop streaming? Oh no, I'm not going to stop. Big Slim is here. Hello, Big Slim. Well, it's kind of late. I already started. You're eating. It's fine. Barry's just having a quick bite to eat, and I'm going to kill a bit of time showing off our Wizards of the Coast. What's this called again? The Secret Lair cards. While Barry's having a quick bite to eat. And this was my purchase I wanted. Because... Hello, Tank. How's it going? Barry's just having a quick bite to eat. And so I'm killing time showing off our Princess Bride Secret Lair cards. Oof. There we go. It's going to be Portal 3 Kingdoms that we're talking about tonight. I didn't realize that what it was, so I didn't put it in the description. We're doing good. Barry just got off work, so... Oh no, where'd the cards go? I put the card somewhere else. Oops. I fooled you. No cards. Where'd I put these cards? I don't remember where we put these cards. I'm sorry, guys. Did we put them? Oh, we put in the slab. Give me a second. I forgot about that. I'm so sorry, guys. So, we put them in a couple slabs. Oh my goodness. How funny is that? I totally forgot we did this. So yeah, we found a 6... Oh, sorry about the light. We found a 6 card slab and then a 4 card slab at a store. I would like to get this professionally done. But if you're fans... Sorry, I'm just trying to fix this here. Fans of the Princess Bride... This was our Christmas present to ourselves. And then once Barry's done eating, we will... Yeah, I know, right? That's inconceivable. And as... Was it Fezzik? There would... Not Fezzik. What was under the giant's name again? Oh, man. It was Fezzik. I had it right. He would be like, I do not think... Oh, no, that wasn't him. It was Inigo. Would say, I don't think that is what it means, but you think it means.
Why are you letting me crush some broken styrofoam?
And then... Hi, Odins. How are you? Yes, we normally do Pokemon, mostly. But right now... right now, I'm just killing... Monday night is our Magic stream. So... I don't think you're using... Anyways, so what do you guys think? What is your favorite card out of the Princess Bride Secret Lair cards? I love this one. And then we'll get right into Portal 3 Kingdoms. I think Barry's ready.
Wow.
Almost.
I think we got a major misstart here.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I should have put it a little later to start.
And we should have said what it was in advance.
I know. So anyways, Barry is here. I will move. Max all day. Nice, yeah. I think they're all pretty nice, but I think Miracle Max is probably my favorite card. And the Andre the Giant one is pretty good too. All right.
And all the kids are coming to eat now. We're just
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just gonna push this back. We do have kids coming in to get some food.
Supper's ready.
Okay, so I decided today Portal 3 Kingdoms would be fun to talk about. It's one of my favorite sets, although it's a very unusual set. One of the things I really like, which Magic has sadly gotten away from, is when they get into historical or semi-historical based on something related to something in history cards. So there's a few of these that have been throughout the early expansions. For example, in Arabian Nights you had King Solomon from he was the third king of Israel back in its kingdom days, and probably the best known. You also had the Library of Alexandria, which was very well known in ancient times. You had Bazaar of Baghdad. That's not, a particularly unique thing. I've been to Central Asian bazaars. They're quite interesting. I've never been to one that far south. Then in Legends, you had a few as well. You had cards like Nebuchadnezzar, who was a king of Babylon. And you also had Rasputin Dreamweaver, which was based off of a character who was influencing the last of the czars of Russia in much more recent times, actually, even. So, yeah, cards like those 5 examples I just gave, they're few and far between, and I really enjoy when you get some real world connections in the Magic cards. And this whole set is based around I think it was a novel from a long time ago that talks about, I guess you'd say it's like a historically based novel. I've heard someone say it's about 70% history and 30% fiction in terms of how it's portrayed in that book. But it was a historical time period in the 3rd century, and about 220 to 280 or so, I believe. And I don't have the set complete. It's very hard to find. But it's got a lot of fun characters. It's got... I'll just take some of these out so we can start going through, I guess. And I just really... I've always appreciated some of this, the flavor. And... the fact that it was only published in originally as a learning set for Magic, and in the Asia Pacific region. So it was published in English, initially only available, I believe, in Australia and New Zealand, and then had to be imported from there. It was also in Chinese Traditional, Chinese Simplified, and Japanese. And it's based on it's a Chinese setting. So, I've got these, set came out in 1999. You can see at the bottom of the card there. And these sets, they had started to number them by now. So, I've got them in the book here, more or less in order. So we've got the three kingdoms were Shu or Shu Han, the Wu, and the Wei. And we'll get into some of that. Basically, I believe Shu Han here, or Shu, was sort of in the interior. Wu was out on the coast, and the Wei were up north in China. Hi, Becca. Thanks for joining us. So we've got Alert Shu Infantry. This is the first card of the set. It's common. I picked up most of these before the prices went up, but there were some that were just always expensive. And while I love the flavor of the set, I didn't collect everything. I had a budget I was working with, and over time I've added a few that. Some of these cards have been reprinted. No, I don't have any sorcery or flesh and blood. And the games, that is. What was I going to say? Yeah, sometimes I've picked up some of the reprints if they keep the same sort of art and flavor text, which helps preserve the set. And then I'll just fill in blanks with some of those reprints sometimes. So not all of these are original printings, sadly. And like I say, there are holes in the set. But we have Alert Shu Infantry. Attacking doesn't cause Alert Shu Infantry to tap. And it's a 2/2. Kong Ming's predecessor helped Liu Bei win the Battle of Fencheng. My pronunciation of Chinese names and stuff is not the best either. My apologies. By recognizing and defeating Chao Ren's use of the dreaded 8 gold locks formation. Now, the Shu, or Shu Han, was what was remaining, I believe, of the Han Kingdom, which was sort of breaking down at that point. I don't have card 2, I forget what that is off the top of my head. Empty City Ruse. Your opponent can't attack on his or her next turn. So it's sort of like a fog effect, just slows them down. Out of time and options, Kong Ming was forced to bluff at Zichen. He tricked an army of 150,000 Wei by leaving the city gates opened and calmly playing the zither. Zyre. I forget how to pronounce that. False defeat. Take one creature card from your graveyard and put that creature into play. Resurrection effects like this were common early on. I don't know if there's... Well, I guess that you still get reanimate type effects quite at times. I don't know. I'm not up on the modern stuff. But they're usually more in black than white. But white used to have them too. All warfare is based on deception. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Well known. I know a lot of people who like to quote that guy. Flanking troops. 2/2 flanking troops. When flanking troops attacks, you may tap any one creature. So that can be useful to get around a bigger body. Most of these, being a starter product, are pretty basic creatures, simple abilities, and they're a little bit overcosted. Even at the time they were, but especially when you compare it to what's available more recently. Yeah, this set was printed in 1999, and it was the last of the Portal sets. Portal 3 Kingdoms was an introductory product. Flanking troops. I already said that. The flavor text. Following the Battle of Red Cliffs, both Liu Bei and Sun Quan coveted the province of Xinzhou. After Sun Quan's troops failed to capture it, Liu Bei's succeeded, and Liu Bei was, I believe, the last of the Han-related royalty. And so he's the leader of the Shu faction in this. Next we have Guan Yu, Sainted Warrior, who I believe was a well-proven guy. There's not much flavor text on this, but I think he comes up in the Peach Garden Oath. He's one of the 3 who made a contract with Liu Bei him and Zhang Fei, I believe. But this one's actually not badly costed for what it does. It's a 3/5 horsemanship, and we'll get into horsemanship in just a second, for 5. When Guan Yu is put into your graveyard from play, you may shuffle Guan Yu into your library. So, it's got a bit of a recursion effect. I love the art. The horse, I think, on this one is particularly well done. And this was one of the rares that was in the 3 starter decks. They were pre-constructed starter decks you could get for each of the 3 houses. And so this guy was in one of the 3, the one for the Shu. And so while it's a rare, it was a more affordable rare for a long time. Horsemanship, basically it functions just like flying, but as far as I know, it hasn't been reused in any other set. So, because this was such a small print run set, it's rare that you run into other creatures with horsemanship or that interact with horsemanship. So basically they're just unblockable most of the time. It's a really fun ability, I find, just thematically and flavor-wise, and yeah, it can be quite strong depending on how common it is in your play group. It's usually pretty rare. It was reprint in one set, like 3 cards. It was recently. Okay, well, that's good to know. I know that they have reprinted a few cards from this set from time to time, but I don't think they've used the ability on new cards that I'm aware of. Then there's a couple more cards I'm missing. Then we've got Kong Ming, who was a strategist. He's mentioned on the first card I read. Kong Ming, the Sleeping Dragon, 2/2 for 4. All your other creatures get +1/+1 as long as Kong Ming is in play. So, nice little buff effect for your side. Such a lord as this, all virtues height, had never been nor ever was again. And then we've got Kong Ming's Contraptions. So he was a smart guy who liked to invent things that were sometimes at least useful. A 2/4 for 4. After you're attacked, before you declare blockers, you may tap Kong Ming's Contraptions to have it deal 2 damage to any one attacking creature. So it's sort of a defensive artillery piece of some sort that would help deal with things attacking you. Also, the fact that it's got, a 2/4 is not a useless body to have, especially at this time. Next, we got the man himself, Liu Bei, Lord of Shu. A 2/4 again for 5. So a little bit smaller than Gan Yu was. But as long as you have Guan Yu and or Zhang Fei in play, Liu Bei gets +2/+2. So he can be stronger if you've got his friends around. And that's again the 3 that were mentioned in the Peach Garden Oath. Liu Bei, Zhang Fei, and Guan Yu. Only wisdom and virtue can truly win men's devotion. I'm missing the next one again. Misfortune's Gain. Destroy any one creature. That creature's owner gains 4 life. This is an interesting one. White doesn't usually get the best removal. This is pretty mediocre to poor at best. I mean, it'll do the job in a pinch, but I get the feeling this was meant to be a watered-down Swords to Plowshares. They get a set amount of life instead of life based on the creature's toughness. Or was it power? I forget. It's been too long. I used to use that card all the time. Anyway, but it costs 4 instead of 1, and it's a sorcery, because there were no instants in this. That's the other thing about the Portal games. Because they were introductory, there really were only 3 card types in the whole set. You had lands, you had creatures, and you had sorceries. So any other card type, they got shifted into sorcery, basically. So there are sorceries that enhance creatures permanently. There are sorceries that I think you can play as in response to things, and there are sorceries that. Oh, what was I gonna say? So they can be like, so they mimic other effects to make it like an instant or like an enchantment, but they're all sorceries, so it's interesting. What are the prices on the horsemanship cards right now? Always wanted to just build that theme. I know they've gone up. I know the rares in particular have gone up quite a bit. Most of the commons aren't too bad, but they can be tricky to find. And then uncommons are, of course, somewhere in the middle for the most part. I'll highlight a few of my favorites as we go. Here's the Peach Garden Oath. This one I know was reprinted in one of the base sets at some point. So here, for each creature you have in play, you gain 2 life. We three, though of separate ancestry, join in brotherhood. We dare not hope to be together always, but hereby vow to die in the self-same day. So, that was, again, Liu Bei and the 2 famous warriors, basically, I believe. Rally the troops. So play Rally the Troops only after you're attacked, before you declare blockers. So again, this is something you play in response, which is very strange as a sorcery. Usually you can't play sorceries on your opponent's turn at all. And it untap all your creatures, so this is to get the drop on people. And again, I like the art on this, but there's not a whole lot else to say. It's a neat little trick. This one is Riding Red Hari. So this one, unfortunately, I don't have an English copy. A lot of these I got some samples in Chinese and Japanese. But this one, again, is 3 to play, gives +3/+3, you can see there, and horsemanship until end of turn. So you can play this to make any creature basically unblockable and stronger and swing it. It's a nice card, but that's basically all it does. And this is the same page, so we'll move on to the next page here. Now, here's an interesting one. This is probably the best in terms of stat for cost, just for raw size of the commons you can get with horsemanship. It's a 2/2 for 3. Nothing special, but hey, it's horsemanship. This was the card which I decided when I was collecting, are they all here? Yeah, they are. To pick up one in each of the 4 languages it was printed in. So we've got English, we've got simplified and simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, and Japanese. And I remember when I first got them, I honestly don't remember which is which at the moment. But I remember being surprised when I first got them and compared them, because these first 2 look the most similar to me in terms of their characters. And so I thought they would be the 2 Chineses, but I think one of those is actually the Japanese, and this one at the back is either the traditional or simplified Japanese. Chinese. So Japanese seems to be closely related linguistically with one of the 2 forms of Chinese. But anyway, the card itself. So this is the only one that I have. Is it the only one I have a playset of? I think it might be. No, I do have another, but this is the only horsemanship card I got a playset of. In establishing the Shu Kingdom, Liu Bei's forces fought against Ma Chao and Chengdu. Eventually, Ma Chao surrendered and became one of Liu Bei's tiger generals. And that is sick. So Sorry if I'm making you feel ill. 464 and okay. Please like the stream if you haven't yet, says Becca. But yeah, so this was the Shu Cavalry. One of my favorites, just as a common with horsemanship to get, because again, the rate a 2/2 for 3, was pretty standard back in the day. Now it's probably bad, but it's not as bad as as the rest of them in this set, as we'll see as we go along. Shu Defender, 2/2 for 3 again. When Shu Defender blocks, it gets +0/+2 until end of turn. Confronting Chow Chow's army at Steep Slope Bridge, Zhang Fei bellowed, "I am Zhang Fei of Yan. Who dares fight me to the death?" Chow Chow's army cowered and fled. So a nice little excerpt from the story. Yes, it's Portal 3 Kingdoms. And here we have next the Elite Shu Companions. So here we have a 3/3 horsemanship for 5. So just at that rate, generally speaking, and I think this one, is this the uncommon? Yeah, I think so. So it's bigger, but it costs you 2 more. And I'd rather take a 2/2 for 3 than a 3/3 for 5 almost any day. Being an uncommon, I'm pretty sure this is sadly more expensive if you're trying to find one, though. In something like a commander deck, you'd want to run, if you're trying to do a horsemanship theme, you'd want to get as many as you can. That's the thing. I've used white. Actually, I've used all 3: white, black, and well, no, let's scratch that. I like to throw horsemanship into just about any commander deck when I get a chance. There's one I built that was sort of themed around it once, and that was bluish. I've thrown a couple of cards into black, but never quite enough to make a theme. So throughout the 3 kingdoms, important generals were often guarded by small groups of expert soldiers known as elite companions. So this would be like the personal bodyguard of the leader. Next we have Shu Elite Infantry, a 3/3 for 4, basically a hill giant in white. Kong Ming's first campaign against the Wei Kingdom was a rousing success until an arrogant Shu general, Mao Su, foolishly lost the city of Fiting. Shu Farmer, a 1/1 for 2. On your turn before you attack, you may tap Shu Farmer to gain a life. Not as good as a Psi-Mite Healer, because that main effect is being able to prevent damage, so you can use it to save your other creatures. This one just gains you life, which can be handy, but generally I find not as useful. The common folk are ceaselessly active. The fields are fertile, and the soil productive, and neither food nor drought plague us. A Shu Diplomat. Also, another thing I forgot to mention is the artists. I don't recognize any of them personally, but all of them, I believe, are Chinese, at least background in artists that they got to do this Chinese-themed set. So that was kind of a neat element to this. My husband can do some damage with a sliver deck in Magic. Yeah, slivers can be interesting. I'm not up on the more recent ones, but that's another video I was thinking of doing one day, is going through the early, sort of the first 3 generations of slivers that they came out with, because I used to enjoy them too. Shu Foot Soldiers, a basic 2/3 for 3, so a little bit better in the cost than the Shu Cavalry, but no horsemanship, so it's just basically a Herlin Minotaur in white. Liu Bei lost many men at the Battle of Runan because his because of his lack of strategy, it wasn't until he met Kong Ming that he began to truly succeed as a leader. So Kong Ming was the great strategist that who helped them out when it came to actual confrontations. What was the other thing I was going to mention? I should have mentioned that all the leader cards in this, all these basic ones, they're just, soldiers or whatever. Farmer for the previous one.
Make sure there's no food lying around.
But the set does have a lot of legendary characters, which I don't believe they had any that I can remember in the first two Portal sets. So that was another thing unique to this Portal set, and great for Commander, because so many of the named characters, like here's a Shu General, but it's not named, so it's just a soldier. But Liu Bei, Yan Yu, the other ones we looked at, Kong Ming, they're all legends creatures, so legendary, creature legend, instead of soldiers. So by today's rules, they're legendary creatures who can work as commanders. The Shu General, again, is an uncommon, a little fancier in that regard, but it's a 4-cost 2/2 with horsemanship instead of a 3-cost, and it gets for the added 1 mana, you get attacking doesn't cause Shu General to tap. So, that's a useful ability, especially in multiplayer. So I would run this before the Shu Elite Companions myself if I was having to make a pick. Then we've got Shu Grain Caravan. Creature, 2/2 for 3. When it comes into play, you gain 2 life. So a little quicker up front than the farmer, and a little bit bigger too. Keeping a 1,000,000-man army fed was no easy task. Grain and rice caravans were the lifeblood of the empire. Shu Soldier Farmers. So here a 5-cost 2/4. So again, anytime a creature starts to get bigger than 2/2, the cost goes up very quickly. And when Shu Soldier Farmers comes into play, you gain 4 life. And during Kong Ming's campaigns against the Wei, his Shu troops rotated from the battlefront to the fields every 100 days. So keeping them fit and fighting, but also keeping your supplies going, very important in a prolonged battle. Alright, we're on to the last of the white cards here. Vengeance. Destroy any one tapped creature. Again, creature removal in white, costing 4. Sadly, not that unusual, a little bit more expensive. Until I've gnawed their flesh and exterminated their clans, my humiliation will not be effaced. Liu Bei on the death of his oath brother Guan Yu. And you recall on the Peach Garden Oath, they swore that they would die on the same day. So, turns out it didn't happen in the end. But
Isabel, where's Britney?
they were good friends while it lasted.
Thomas?
Virtuous Charge. 3-cost. All your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Basically, this is a morale. If you
Did you look outside to make sure there's no food around for dog?
had those from 4th edition or the Dark or something. Except this being a sorcery, you can't put it on your opponent's turn or as a surprise as much. You gotta do it before you declare your attack to be useful. So not as good. The Empire belongs to no one man, but to all in the Empire. He who has virtue shall possess it. Hubby and I learned how to play the Pokemon TCG. Oh, that's good. It's always fun to learn a new game. I enjoy that myself.
Is this? I don't know if that fan being on is loud for people.
Volunteer Militia. Now here you got a smaller creature, a 1/2 for only 1. So this is actually, not bad in terms of efficiency. In these earlier years, usually for 1 mana, you would expect. Who took Bones outside? Oh boy. After making Peach Garden oath, the three brothers raised an army of 500 youths to fight the Yellow Scarves Rebellion. Yeah, we'll get to the Yellow Scarves in a bit, but this creature isn't that bad for 1 mana at the time. Warrior's Stand. So a white and a colorless. Play Warrior's Stand only after you're attacked, but before you declare blockers. So again, this is a sorcery that they made that you could play in response as an instant which is very unusual in other sets. I don't know of any other sets except maybe some of the previous Portal that allowed you to do that with sorceries. All your creatures get +2/+2 until end of turn. They might have even errated some of these to be instants because of the way they're played.
If there was a chicken bone out there, it's gone.
Who took a bone outside?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Oh, can you move this? Sorry.
So yeah, all your blockers all of a sudden get bigger, and you can turn the battle that way.
Did you tell them what was going on?
Well, I'm sure they heard.
Okay. I just hit a bag of cans.
Apparently, one of the kids grabbed some chicken and wedges to take outside and had a bone in it or something.
A chicken bone.
A chicken bone. And then Salem, our dog, got a hold of it and ate it because it was left unattended.
And I told Thomas to look before it came back in.
Yeah. This is Zhang Fei. This is the third of the Peach Garden Oath guys. I can tell you what the card does. Unfortunately, I don't remember the flavor text, but he was this is one I wish I'd looked up in advance. But basically, it's like sort of like Sarah Angel, I believe. It's a 4/4 horsemanship, and attacking doesn't cost a tap, but it costs 6 instead of 5. So, I don't know. If anyone out there can read Chinese and wants to enlighten us on that flavor text, I'd appreciate it. But sadly, I didn't get that looked up in advance. But he's definitely one of the stronger horsemanship cards once he's on the table. But he is a little bit pricier to play for sure. And then I'm missing the next one. And then we're into blue. So here's a map. Map of China and the positions of the 3 kingdoms there, which I alluded to before. So you can see the Wei Kingdom up north, Wu Kingdom along the coast, and then the Shu Kingdom sort of landlocked in behind the other 2.
Why does sister cry?
And the Shu is with Liu Bei, and the white is basically the color that represents them in this set. And in blue here, we're now moving into the Wu Kingdom for the most part. Pretty sure it was because it was supposed to be a starter set and they didn't do instants, but rather all sorceries and explained when they can be played. Yep, that's pretty much it. They kept it to the 3 card types: sorcery, creature, and land, and then just made exceptions on the sorceries so they could be played as an instant or as a creature enchantment or other examples. But yeah. So here we have balance of power between the 3 kingdoms. If you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent does, you draw until you have the same number, which can be interesting in certain situations, but it requires some setup to make good use of this card. I love it though for the map though. That's a really handy addition to the set. Next, borrowing 10,000 arrows. For each tapped creature your opponent has in play, you draw a card. This can be a nice surprise that if you're playing against an opponent with all weenie decks or token creature decks that's just swung at somebody, say in a multiplayer game, and they've got a bunch of tapped tokens, this is going to be a great way to refill your hand. Kong Ming and Lu Su tricked Wei troops into shooting over 10,000 arrows at them to later use against the Wei at Red Cliffs. So raiding arrows from one enemy to use against another. just got to make sure that your targets that they're getting shot at are nice and soft so they can absorb the arrows without damaging them. And then Brilliant Plan. Draw 3 cards for 5. By today's standards, it's overcosted, but, you know, there's worse things you could do. At Red Cliffs, Kong Ming and Zhao Yu each wrote his plan for defeating the Wei on the palm of his hand. They laughed as they both revealed the same word, fire. And you can see they've each got that same character there, which I presume means fire, on their hands in the picture. So, and that's that page done. Let's move into...
Where did my drink go? Did Ezra steal my drink that I brought?
Broken Dam. Tap any 1 or 2 creatures without horsemanship. Using nature to their advantage, wise 3 Kingdoms generals often let damned rivers loose to destroy their enemies. You know, a pretty basic trick by today's standards, but for 1 mana, it can be quite effective. This is the most recent addition I've got to this set. This card was too expensive for me to buy back when I was first putting the set together, but it was very recently reprinted. Last year, 2023. And again, it's got the same art and flavor text, so I picked this one up to fill the hole in my binder.
B-Weed says, do you have the whole set?
I do not have the whole set. There's still holes in here, as you'll see as we go along. But, and like I say, this is not an original printing, so it doesn't count technically, but it fills the hole, and like I said, I collect this set mainly for the flavor, just because I like it, and for the playability. Some of these cards I would actually throw into decks.
Do you have, like, some in other boxes downstairs still?
Not many.
Does your brother?
Dave had very little of this.
Okay.
I think I gave him a few cards. But yeah, we never opened any packs of this ourselves. So this is a 5 cost, take an extra turn after this one, which is basically Time Warp from Tempest. Was basically what this is, except, you know, and that's a perfectly playable card. I think 5 is a reasonable cost for taking an extra turn. It's a powerful effect. I think it's fine. Save the money from 1 expensive card to fill more holes. Yeah. If I get back to trying to fill out the set, that's probably, you know, the basic idea. Or just to use on other things at this point in my life. There's always other expenses. But the province of Xingzhou was a fulcrum of the 3 kingdoms. At separate times, it was coveted and controlled by the Wu, the Wei, the Shu, and the Wei. So, yeah, one of the key. Time Warp, but more expensive, honestly. Yeah, probably. I expect Time Warp. I think what I paid for this one is close to what Time Warp was when it was first printed in Tempest, but that's still a lot less than what you usually find. And I assume that's dropped by now for a Tempest version, or for it's probably been reprinted. The next card, as you can see, is blank. I'm missing that one. Council of Advisors. When Council of Advisors comes into play, draw a card. And it's a 1/1 for 3. So, yeah, instead of getting your 2/2, which is average for 3, you're getting a 1/1, but you get to draw a card. It's a picnic, basically, from Ice Age is when they had that first sort of effect happen, as I recall. Sun Quan's long and successful rule in the year 199 to 251 was due to his ability to choose and foster talented advisors and generals. Sun Quan is one of my favorites, by the way. We'll get to him a little bit later here in blue. The 1/1 plus draw a card for 3 is fair. Yeah, it's fair. It's just not very exciting. Counterintelligence. Return any 1 or 2 creatures to their owner's hand. So you can bounce up to 2 creatures if you want for 4. Boomerang effect can be nice. It's a sorcery speed, but you can do it to 2. So it's usable in the right situation for sure. Before the Battle of Red Cliffs, a supposedly sleeping Zhao Yu allowed his old friend, a Wei advisor, to steal a planned letter forged as if from Wei's 2 best admirals. Exhaustion. 3 cost. At the beginning of your opponent's next turn, he or she skips untapping creatures and lands. So, a 1-turn stasis type effect. Again, it can be useful if you're trying to delay things, but usually you can find something a little bit more effective to do.
Matthew says you're a champ for reading all of these.
Oh, I'm glad it's. I find see that's the thing. The flavor of the cards is what really stands out to me. So it gets a chance to appreciate the art and appreciate the flavor. Starving and worn, Chow Chow escaped from the Battle of Red Cliffs with only 27 of his original 800,000 men. And then we've got Extinguish. Now this is one of those sorceries that's basically a counterspell, as I recall. Wait, I'm getting it mixed up.
Yeah, this has been nice, flavorful like a barbecue. Ha!
So the 2 cost, play Extinguish only in response to another player playing a sorcery. That sorcery has no effect, and that player puts it into his or her graveyard. So yeah, I was right. It is like a counterspell. It just makes their card have 0 effect. It's worded really strangely, but that's basically counter a sorcery for 2. And in this set, like I said, sorceries are basically half the non-land cards. So there you go. Forced Retreat. 3 mana. Return any 1 creature from play to the top of its owner's library. Trying to avoid the glare in the shadows.
This is making me go on TCG Player. The order I might place is your fault.
Yeah, well, I placed a couple of orders over the years, and yeah, I just love looking through all these cards. Leadership, not numbers, determines victory. A Wu commander, before his 500 troops, forced 15,000 Wei troops to retreat from, Rukzu, maybe?
Which one? Sorry?
The last word in the flavor text.
I can't read it on the camera.
Ruxu, and it's transliterated Chinese, so...
Okay. Which one? Sorry. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
It's probably like, I don't know, I don't even want to try.
That's my best guess.
The X might even be silent or like a different sound. I have no idea. We need
Lady's Son. This card, I think, actually has gone up quite a bit in value since I picked this up. And again, it's a legendary. I probably maybe saw some use in Commander or something because it only costs 3. 1/1. On your turn, before you attack, you may tap Lady Sun to return it and any 1 other creature to their owner's hands. I guess that wouldn't be great as a commander because, as I recall, commander rules now, you have to pay extra every time you replay something. So, anyway. Sister to Sun Quan and wife to Liu Bei, Lady Sun often felt her loyalty to both tested. So yeah, if her brother is the ruler of one kingdom and her husband is the ruler of another kingdom.
So a copy like that is like 130-ish. Probably US.
Okay, well, yeah, I knew this one had gone up a bit. So
Isn't
it's a
this-
nice card, and it shows a lot of the flavor and politics of the area.
Would that be pronounced more like soon or something like that? Like
Zun?
soon? Like it's not sun, but
It might be.
yeah.
I
I watched a little bit of Chinese shows, so I get confused.
Yeah, but I think all the kingdoms fought, but I'm pretty sure the Wei Kingdom was generally the one that was more aggressive, and the other two were more amenable to getting along. But they all did battle for sure, and I think in the end of the story, it was probably the Wei that won, as I recall. But it's been a while. Anyway. I wish I had an English copy of this one too, because of the flavor text. As I recall, it was quite interesting. You want to look it up quickly online? I think it was.
Sorry, which one?
Oh boy, I think this one was Lu Sun.
Oh, goodness.
Lu. No, it's Lu Meng. Lu Meng is what this one was. That's it. Anyways, it's basically an air elemental. 4/4 horsemanship for 5. But of course, it's a legendary creature, and a 4/4 for 5 horsemanship is probably about the best rate you're going to get for a biggish.
80 Canadian at the store. And
No,
it's out of stock. Wait, sorry.
I wasn't asking for a price. I was asking for what the flavor text says in English.
Sorry. Well, that's the English one too. It says, as the Wu chief commander Lu Meng conquered Shu held Fing Zhao, I don't know how to say that, in 219 by disguising soldiers as merchants on boats filled with hiding troops.
There you go. But yeah, I remember he was a character of some significance, and one of the Wu generals that had a big impact. And as a card, nothing wrong with a horsemanship air elemental. Then we've got Lu Su. There's like 3 different characters here named Lu, so that's how I remembered that name, by the way. Wu Advisor,
FTW, what does that mean? I'm sorry.
I don't know. 5 mana for a 1/2. You're not getting a particularly strong creature for combat, but on your turn before you attack, you may tap Lu Su to draw a card. So he's another sort of tactician more than a fighter. Lu Su served.
Internet for the win.
Yeah.
That's probably what that is.
Okay. Yeah, that would be.
I was like, is there internet?
I should have thought of that before with Zhang Fei, because I was lamenting the fact that I didn't look up the flavor text for that one.
I can go back to get that if people want to hear it, but wait, how do you spell that one again?
ZH is Zhang, and then Fei FEI, I think.
Okay, I'm just gonna look up portal frequency.
Anyway. Lu Su served as an intermediary between the Wu and Shu kingdoms until Zhao Yu's death in 210, when he became Wu's supreme commander. So again, the roles changing and politics shifting over time.
Quite a few cards.
Yeah.
That are worth quite a bit.
Well, yes, this set was very hard to find, so the rarity keeps the prices up on a lot of these. Here's Lu Zun, Scholar General. Basically, the stats were taken off of Thieving Magpie for this one, so it's 4 cost for a 1/3 horsemanship instead of flying, and when it successfully damages your opponent, you can draw a card. This is one that at times I've tried out as a general for one of my EDH decks, or Elder Dragon Highlander, back before they came out with Commander, or around that time anyway.
Was it that one?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's white.
Oh, it's a white one?
It's this one here in the middle.
Okay.
Guy on a horse. Anyway.
I was thinking it was blue for some reason.
Anyway, but Lu Zun, they did do a reprint, and so I've got another version of him, so I don't have to pull out the expensive one whenever I want to use him now. But, yeah, they did have, I forget what set this was in. 2013.
That's a $240 one.
Yeah, which is why I didn't buy an English copy. I got a cheaper copy, and it wasn't that much back then either.
What?
I said she
But
wants to sleep.
Okay, take the better
I'll
now.
pull that card back out as Angela reads the flavor text since she's found it. So Zhang Fei from the other Peach Garden Oath brother.
Horsemanship. Oh, you just a flavor flavor text, not the.
You can read the whole
Okay.
thing, why not?
Horsemanship attacking doesn't cause Zhang Fei to tap. Zhang Fei's uncharacteristic alliance with a defeated Riverlands general, Yan Yan, allowed Shu forces to advance through 45 Riverlands strongpoints with no casualties. Hey, Void's here. Hi, Void!
Nice. So yeah, strong warrior and good tactics on that
Sue
one.
me. Yeah. Becca, I love you.
Keep
You're
that
awesome.
up there for now. And like I said, I like Lu Zun. I think the cost is just pretty good for what he does. Next, Mystic Denial is another one of these sorcery counter spells. 2 blue and 1. Play Mystic Denial only in response to another player playing a creature or sorcery, which in this set is any non-land card. But creature or sorcery is still a decent options, although you can get a 3 mana just counter anything basically. So it's not a great card compared to when you look at other sets. That card has no effect, and that player puts it into his graveyard. So that's how they did counterspell, basically. Preemptive Strike. 1 blue and 1, so 2 cost. Play Preemptive Strike only in response to another player playing a creature card. That creature has no effect, and that player puts it into his or her graveyard. So counter a creature. This is Remove Soul for Portal 3 Kingdoms. Yeah, that's about it. So after they stopped interrupts in the game, they made sorcery cards that could interrupt. No, basically interrupts got made into instants. This is just a starter product that was made to teach people how to play, and so to make it simple, they just had lands, creatures, and sorceries, and then would just explain how you play the sorcery to mimic other card types. Red Cliff's Armada. So 5 cost, 5/4. Red Cliff's Armada can't attack unless the defending player has an island in play. So this is another example of a ship card, which I kind of like. And it sort of fulfills the role of the old Sea Serpent, except instead of being a 5/5 for 6, and having the downside of dying if you didn't have an island, this one is a 5/4 for 5. So actually I think this is better than Sea Serpent. And it's one of the bigger cards in the set, although we're getting close here to...
Lots of new subscribers tonight, so thank you everybody who's subbing up.
Yes, thank you very much. Hope people are enjoying some of these as much as I do.
Tank says, I remember when I still played that, I rolled with either a black or a red deck.
Yeah, black and red are easy, efficient colors to get rid of threats, so that's handy. And they can be quite quick.
When you taught me how to play and I was making decks, didn't I go with more like the blue, the white, and the green?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like the red and the black.
Well, you usually can get bigger, more efficient creatures in green. Sage's Knowledge. We're getting distracted.
Sorry.
I guess distracted is part of the thing, isn't it? Because there's chat.
Instead of talking while you're talking.
There's another card like Sage's Knowledge called Deja Vu. I'm not surprised. 3, return anyone sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a limited regrowth, basically, for blue, just for sorceries. Those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. And then this is another one that I picked up a copy from a reprint. Strategic Planning. 2 cost. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Plans evolved within the tent. Decide a victory. 1,000 li away. So I'm guessing li is a unit of measure, sort of like miles or kilometers or something. I love artifacts and counter spells. So do I. Unfortunately, there's no artifacts in this set, and the counter spells there are, we've already been through, and they're sorcery based, so they're interesting at least in that regard. But yeah, strategic planning. Basically, I forget, there was some sort of combo with this. Oh yeah, it was popular for reanimator decks. So you would go through, take a look at the top 3 cards, and you'd get to draw one and put the other ones into your graveyard, so you could dump a couple big creatures in there, or maybe even just one, and then bring it back with something. I think that's why this card became expensive, and why I didn't get a 3 Kingdoms copy, and waited for a reprint here. Straw Soldiers is a 1/3 creature for 2. Instead, that's useful to try to gum things up, I guess. It's not the best. I'm surprised it can attack. It's not even a wall, so it's just a soldier. But the whole thing about strawman arguments, and, there you go. The overnight appearance of miles of armed Wu forts at Guangling frightened a much vaster Wei force into fleeing for their lives. You didn't have the soldiers, just put up some scarecrows, basically. I'm hearing some noise, and I'm not sure which room it's coming from.
Ezra's outside and Brinley's in the bedroom.
Which bedroom?
Hers.
Okay.
So, is that a cat in your pocket? Says, how expensive are these cards? I know Chinese cards are generally expensive. Are the Chinese ones expensive, or did you
I think
inexpensive?
I think for this set, the foreign language ones at least used to be cheaper than English.
Oh, okay.
The print run was lower on the English, I think, and they were more in demand. So,
I wonder if they'd be on price charting. I can check it.
Oh, probably.
Did we have a good Canada Day? Well, we didn't really do too much today.
I had to work today.
Yeah, he was
so
working. And
I get paid extra for working on the holiday, which is nice. But other than that,
I wasn't taking the kids out of my own, and I kind of felt a little deflated when our town decided they weren't doing fireworks today. Instead, they do it in November.
One of my coworkers brought donuts in.
Ooh, donuts.
That's nice. Anyway, Broken Dam. 1 blue. Tap any 1 or 2 creatures without horsemanship. Didn't I already do this? Yes, I already did this one. I just flipped the page, and yeah. Next page. Okay, this guy. This guy is Sun Sea. The Conqueror, maybe? You want to look that one up just to refresh my memory?
Sorry.
He's a 3/3 horsemanship for 5, and he does something, and I'm not remembering what it is off the top of my head.
What's it called again?
Sun Sea. Just CE for the second word.
Looking.
An O-ring binder. You're a brave soul. Haha. Well, to be honest, I wouldn't usually use this now. But this is the binder that I was using for my sets from when I was quite young, and I used it because it was a very solid binder that I got from my dad at one point. So I just haven't bothered to change them out. Most of the sets in here are things like the Fallen Empires and Homelands that we've done before, or Dark Commons. So they're not particularly high value. This is sort of the exception to that rule. Read it? Yes, please.
It says horsemanship. When Sun Sea comes into play, you may return any 1 creature from play to its owner's hand.
Okay, so you can bring it down and bounce another creature, which can be handy for sure. But, it gives you something to do with him the turn you play him instead of you can't attack that turn normally. So that's nice.
J&J Pokemon Ontario. Hello, how's it going? We're just going through Barry's Portal 3 Kingdoms set.
Next, I got another Chinese one, Sun Quan, Lord of Wu. Except this one, I did find, they reprinted in, I think this was in From the Vault. One of the From the Vaults maybe from the Vault
Ooh,
20 or
it's
something.
shiny.
Yes, it's a very, very flashy foiling version, which doesn't...
And it reflects more.
Yes,
light.
it makes it harder to read, sadly. This
Maybe
was
some-
in 2011, this one.
We gotta get some better lights.
So, Sun Quan, Lord of Wu. Legendary creature, human soldier. This is another one I've used as a blue commander for a commander deck. Creatures you control have horsemanship, which obviously includes himself. So, for 6, you get a 4/4 horsemanship, and your whole board gains horsemanship, which can make for a very big swing if they're not, if they don't have an answer to that, because all of a sudden all your creatures are unblockable most of the time. 1 score and 4 he reigned, the Southland King, a dragon coiled, a tiger poised below the mighty Yangtze. So, yeah, he was the ruler of Wu for 24 years, and very successful in his way.
Izzy just asks, if I'm just starting and don't have much money, is it okay to use an unsleeved deck? It's a commander pre-con called Deep Blue Sea that a friend let me borrow for a game.
I don't know
I might buy it.
the values.
Oh crap!
Most cards are, especially recent cards, are fairly inexpensive, and it wouldn't bother me generally. But there are some cards, usually just penny sleeves is what I play with in most of my decks. And then if I'm playing a deck with more expensive cards, I get more substantial sleeves like
Matthew
this type.
says friends give friends sleeves. It's probably fine.
So this is the type of sleeve I use for cards where I have that are worth, a little bit more, say $5-10 and up. If most of the cards are fairly cheap, I'll just use these sort of penny sleeves. I rarely play a deck without any sleeves anymore, unless I know it's all commons and stuff that I don't really care much about.
I think I just preferred sleeves.
But I remember all the time when I was little, we would do drafts and things, and mostly commons again. But
Matthew is asking what brand you like. He says nice sleeves.
I haven't bought many in a long time. I think these here are Ultra Pro.
I wonder what people.
That's usually the
blackback ones you like.
Yeah, the blackback Ultra Pro. There's different types. There's some of them are
I wonder
more
what people
matte
think if you
things.
just used Pokemon sleeves in Magic.
I don't know. It could work. It really doesn't matter as long as they all match, and that's why I like to get blackbat.
Yeah.
Usually matte, because I can interchange them more easily.
Yeah.
So here we have Wu Admiral. So here's a 3/3 for 5. As long as your opponent has an island in play, Wu Admiral gets +1/+1. So it could be a 4/4 if your opponent also has blue. The Wu Kingdom's well-trained admirals were integral to the Southland's victory at Red Cliffs, as well as the kingdom's defense. So yeah, the Wu being on the coast makes sense that they've got most of the boats and stuff in this game, for sure. My commander deck and used energies for lands and tilted a few nerds. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you're just trying to learn the game and play and make something to have fun with, I don't see any problem with it. But yeah, I could see how that would irritate people. Oh, this is one that I like the art on.
The light is coming in. The sun.
Yeah,
You
we're
want me to
getting the
close
sun
living room?
from the living room window,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I'll be back. Or Thomas could have done it.
All right, I can move my arm in the way for now. Wu Elite Cavalry is a 2/3 horsemanship for 4. A little pricier, but not useless by any means as far as horsemanship cards go. At the second battle of Ruksu, the brave Wu general Gang Ning raided Cao Cao's camp of 400,000 men with only 100 cavalry. Not a single man or horse was lost. So a nice surprise attack there. I remember, I think this one was probably the horsemanship card that you could get at common with the highest power and toughness. So I think I've got, yeah, I can see I've got at least 2 copies in here. But yeah, this was a
Andrea is asking favorite dinosaur.
favorite dinosaur.
I don't know if it's magic related or they just want to know. So, what's your favorite dinosaur?
I don't know a lot of magic dinosaurs, but
Just dinosaur in general.
just
You used to
dinosaur
like
in general.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, I haven't thought about them in so long. What would be my favorite? I kind of like the sauropods, to be honest, like the Diplodocus, Brachiosaurus, just the big ones. Triceratops used to be one of my
Barney
favorites.
is pretty magical.
Yeah,
Nice.
true. Barney is pretty magical. That's
Oh my
one way to
goodness.
describe him.
Aging myself a little, but my nephew, when I would babysit, liked that show a lot.
Yeah. Here's Wu Infantry, a 2-1 for 2. The first battle of Hefei was Sun Quan's last as a field general. From then on, he let his generals command in the field while he directed battle from behind the front lines.
You see the cat in the pockets ask her question.
Which? Oh, there. Do you have Capture of Zhenggu? It's basically a time warp. Yeah, we were going through them in order, so we covered that. It was on the previous page at the top there. I don't have an original Portal 3 Kingdoms copy, though. I got the reprint that they made last year. So, saved a few dollars that way. Wu Light Cavalry, another common horsemanship guy. 2 for a 1-2 horsemanship. A cunning strategist, Chao Ren tricked Zhao Yu by letting him enter Nanjing. Zhao Yu thought he was capturing the city until Chao Ren's arrows rained down upon him.
Thank you. Ezra Abrams can make you some eggs. Okay, just wait.
Wu Longbowman. So here we have a 3-cost 1-1. On your turn, before you attack, you may tap Wu Longbowman to have it deal 1 damage to any one creature or player. So this is basically Portal 3 Kingdom's version of Prodigal Sorcerer, except that it's restricted into when you can actually use its tapping to deal damage ability. So there are better cards for sure, but it's nice and flavorful.
I almost feel like that was just somebody asking a question, a random question, and just randomly.
It could be.
I love it though.
Spinosaurus is neat, but I find the movie portrayal is not the best. Wu Scout is a card that I used to really like. Just a 1-1 horsemanship for 2, and when it comes into play, look at your opponent's hand. I think that's a nice little bit of added value to the card, which can be easy to underestimate. A lot of the times you're not going to find anything too useful, but sometimes it can really let you know what your opponent's got going on. It's an effect that I think recently they made a Gitaxis probe or something that you could play with Phyrexian mana, and all of a sudden people started respecting that ability more. But I know when I started playing, cards like Glasses of Urza that would sit there and let you look at your opponent's hand were not very well thought of. They were thought of as pretty useless, honestly. But I think this is a nice happy ground because it's still a creature with horsemanship that's fairly inexpensive and lets you scout your opponent's hand. So I like it. And then I'm missing the next card again, sadly. Next we're on to Wu Warships. More ships. I like ships. And this was a common one. 3-3 for 3, so that's a better efficiency rate than a lot of them. Wu Warship can't attack unless defending player control has an island in play. Standard Bodhi drawback. Both Wu and Wei warships patrolled the Yangtze River, the natural border between the 2 kingdoms. And next we have Zhao Yu, Chief Commander. This, in terms of this set, is one of the 2 largest creatures. There's 2 creatures that are 8/8s and tied for the biggest creature in the set, and this is one of them. Zhao Yu, Chief Commander, an 8/8 for 7. And it can't attack unless your opponent has an island in play. After making me, Zhao Yu, did you have to make Kong Ming? Zhao Yu crying to heaven on his deathbed. I guess he was a pretty great strategist commander, but Kong Ming just was the one guy who was better than him. Though I'm sure some people watching this stream could probably say what the other creature that's an 8/8 from Portal's Three Kingdom, tied for the biggest creature, is. Sadly, I don't have a copy of that one. It's always been one of the most expensive cards in this set. So, I didn't get it. Maybe one day if they do a reprint, but they didn't put it in from the Vault Dragons, sadly. That was where I was hoping they would have reprinted it, but in any case, it's the Zodiac Dragon, and I think it costs, more than 8 for the 8/8, but when it goes into your graveyard, you get to, does it take it back into your hand or shuffle it back into your deck? Whatever. I don't have one, so we won't see it. But it's a famous card, so not great by today's standards. Next we have Zhong Jin, Wu Strategist. 3 cost for a 1/1 on your turn before you attack. You may tap Zhong Jin to make any one creature unblockable this turn.
The postal service is so funny. I saw it going from Canada to Seattle, but goes to LA, California.
So this is like a Dwarven Warrior, except it's any creature. It's not limited by the creature's power. So that's actually a potentially quite useful
Any
ability.
guesses how much a Portal 3 Kingdoms booster box sells for?
Oh, I
And
don't
it's
want to
US.
know. It's thousands. I know that. When Zhong Jin proposed the marriage of Guan Yu's daughter and Sun Quan's heir, Guan Yu's arrogant refusal led to disaster. So, proposed marriage to try to bring the two kingdoms a little closer together, but didn't turn out so good. And that's the end of blue. So now we're into black. So now the Wei Kingdom. Ambition's Cost. This is another one of those rares that was in the starter deck. Lu Zun, I believe, was another one. The one I liked that drew a card when you hit. So there were some of the rares that are a little bit cheaper, or at least were, because they were in the starter decks, there was more copies printed, and they were easier to find. Ambition's Cost. I think this has been reprinted as well. But pay 4 to draw 3 cards, and you lose 3 life. So it costs 1 less than the other one that cost 5, but you have to pay life.
1 pack is $475 USD.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sounds about
Ouch.
right. Ouch is right.
You know who has them? I bet you anything who has them? That alpha investing guy.
Oh, who knows?
Rudy? I bet you Rudy has them.
Oh, he probably has some, but anyway. When you give offense to heaven, to whom can you pray? Chow Chow quoting Confucius. Speaking of Chow Chow, here's the master of the Wei clan himself. And again, this one was also in one of the starter decks, as I recall, so it's one of the less expensive rares. And it doesn't have horsemanship, which helps it too, but 3/3 for 5 on your turn. Before you attack, you may tap Chow Chow to force your opponent to choose and discard 2 cards from his or her hand. So, it can empty your opponent's hand quite effectively if given the chance and time to do that. So, I would tend to like, if I'm going to use this, I would use something like a Lightning Greaves, so that you can have that out, drop this guy, he equips for 0, gives him some protection, cannot be targeted, and haste, so you can use his ability right away. That's what I would do if I was going to try and use this guy.
Caitlin has a question.
Do you think buying new magic packs is worth it? Or do you want... Or if you want to get into Magic, should you buy individual cards? Honestly, usually buying the singles is more cost effective.
Do they not make those dual deck packs anymore?
No, they stopped making dual decks. They used to be a good introductory
Maybe
product.
we should have one of those as a giveaway for a 1,000 sub for the magic portion. 'Cause we have
Maybe.
a few of those
I don't know.
downstairs.
Well, there's not as many left as I thought there were, but maybe.
Are we getting close to 1,000 subscribers?
No, stop grabbing things.
Take her to her room. I'll be right there to get her to bed.
Brindley trying to make off with
She likes cards.
Luzon over there. Anyways. Yeah, there used to be more starter products that were easier to get into, and starter decks and things, but it's less of that now, I find.
What's the one that you got?
You can still get commander decks, but they're a lot more expensive.
What the little ones that you got? Is it Ice Age that you have?
I've got a couple of Ice Age starter decks, yes, still kicking around.
I don't know which one would be better, like to do the dual deck as a giveaway or the.
I'd rather give away a dual deck.
The dual deck?
The old Ice Age starters are harder to find nowadays.
Yeah, no, it probably makes sense to hold on to those. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's Chow Chow. Chow Ren, Wei Commander.
I'll be right back. I gotta get Brindley to bed.
Yeah, Wei. Probably Wei Commander was better. Anyways, 4 cost for a 3/3 horsemanship, so that's, above the curve for this set for your horsemanship creatures. And when he comes into play, you lose 3 life. So again, another card that's a little cheaper but has a downside of paying life. Chow Chow's cousin, Chow Ren, was known throughout the 3 kingdoms as the fiercest of warriors.
Well, I do have a couple.
Hubby and I live in Kentucky, but we travel a lot because of his occupation. It's always nice to see places. I always enjoyed traveling. We don't get to do it as often as we once did, but... Coercion. This card has been reprinted a bunch of times in a bunch of sets. This was probably a reprint. I think it was actually in another set before it was in this one. 3 costs. Sorcery. Look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. Your opponent discards that card. So you get to mess with whatever their plans were quite nicely with this one, as well as getting to see what's in their hand. Though he held the title of Prime Minister, Chow Chow used the Emperor's name to exert his own influence on the Empire. Next we have Corrupt Officials. Corrupt Court Official, singular. A 1/1 for 2. When Corrupt Court Official comes into play, your opponent chooses and discards a card from his or her hand. This reminds me of a rat card from an earlier set. I forget its name or what set it was from, but there was a rat that had this effect. So now they put it on a Corrupt Court Official, which is somewhat fitting, actually, in that regard. Next we have Cunning Advisor. So 1/1 for 4. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by comments here. 1/1 for 4. On your turn, before you attack, you may tap Cunning Advisor to force your opponent to choose and discard a card from his or her hand. So as you can tell, there's a lot of discard effects so far.
Bring my son.
Why are you bringing this to me now?
Listen.
Yeah, it's a tambourine. I don't need it right now. So there was Cunning Advisor. And that's the end of that page. And we'll continue on with the Wei Kingdom. Anyone familiar with the set will immediately be able to spot which card is missing, I think, because it's one of the most famous cards from Portal 3 Kingdoms, sadly. I think it's the most expensive as well. Deception. 3 cost. Your opponent chooses and discards 2 cards from his or her hand. Believing they wrote the forged letter that had been stolen from Zhao Yu, Chow Chow rashly executed his 2 best admirals for treason. Not one to cope well with failures. Desperate Charge, 3 cost. All your creatures get +2 attack, and that's it until end of turn. Lieutenants dishonored, corpses carted home. The general raises troops again to take revenge. Then we've got famine. Again, thankfully, not so common these days, but all too common in past eras of history. 5 cost. Famine deals 3 damage to each creature and player. So, almost a mini board wipe. Sort of a pyroclasm effect, except players as well, and 5 cost instead of 2 cost for 3 damage instead of 2 damage. Not the most efficient, but it could be useful for sure. To play around this, you'd want creatures that have more than 3 toughness. But it was a year of dearth. People were reduced to eating leaves of jujube trees. Corpses were seen everywhere in the countryside. A ghostly visit. Destroy any one creature that isn't black. So this is your terror type effect, except the sorcery for 3. Chow Chow was haunted to death by the ghosts of the empresses and other high courtiers he had murdered.
They brought you the gift of music. Was that when Ezra had his...
The tambourine, I guess.
Okay.
A tambourine can be quite useful in music.
Tio, Imperials. Did you say hi to Tio? Welcome in, Tio.
Tio, Imperial Seal. Yep, you guessed it. It's definitely that's the one that's missing from this page. Imperial Edict I have, which is a common. But Imperial Seal, not so much. That one's rare and one of the more expensive cards in the set. I'll talk about it a little bit, but your opponent chooses one of his or her creatures. Destroy that creature. So it's standard 2 cost edict effect, except it's a sorcery because that's what they had. Frustrated with Chow Chow's control of the imperial court, Emperor Zhang secretly issued an edict condemning him, using his own blood as a...
These ones are not as creepy as some of the other ones that we were showing.
Well...
As the word
not as, but again, it's meant to be introductory to a point too. This is where Imperial Seal would be, and they have reprinted Imperial Seal, but it's still a ridiculously expensive card, and none of the reprints have had the original art or flavor text, which is what I would want in a reprint anyway.
It would be really neat if we were able to come across somebody who didn't know what they have.
Well, that's always nice if you can find a deal on something, but something like that, but not very likely. But Imperial Seal was basically Vampiric Tutor. It was 1 black, except the sorcery, because it's a sorcery in this set. And search your deck for any card, put that card on top of your library, and pay 2 life. So it's a search. It's a tutor effect for any card you want, but you have to pay 2 life, and it goes on top of your deck instead of in your hand, so you got to draw it on your next draw. It's a strong card, but not as good as the Seal.
There's a lot of new names in tonight, so welcome in everybody who's new.
Here's another one. If you could look up the English, just so I'm not, I know what it does because I've played with this in decks.
What's the picture? Which one?
Overwhelming Forces.
Okay, just look up Overwhelming Forces.
Yes, it's this I like in Commander because it's a bit expensive, but it's generally worth it. You can get a lot of value out of this.
$160 at the store that we buy stuff from, and it's out of stock, of course. So you want the text?
Yes, please read this card.
Destroy all your opponent's creatures. You draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. By the year 208, I don't know how to say that. CAO? Chow commanded more than 1,000 experienced generals and 1 million infantry, cavalry, and naval troops.
Right.
So is this just like talking about history of
huge army,
Chinese, like in China?
Yeah, it's taken from a novel, which is basically a historical.
I think that's cool.
Novelization. of that period in history. That's it's one of my favorite things about this set is that most of the cards are at least somewhat historical. And there are a few other cards like that from Arabian Nights and Legends, but there's not a lot in Magic that does that, and this is the best set for it, in my opinion.
No, I think that's neat
overall.
that they did that.
They just reprinted that. Yes, I heard that they just made a reprint of this card. But again, they didn't keep the original flavor text or art, so not what I would have wanted, sadly. Next one is Poison Arrow. 6 cost. Destroy any one creature that isn't black. You gain 3 life. Yeah, for paying 6 to gain 3 life over just paying 3 to do the same thing, I'd much rather just play Ghostly Visit than Poisoned Arrow. In ancient China, not wearing armor could be a fatal mistake. Guan Yu, Zhao Yu, Sun Si, and other heroes were struck by poison arrows.
Yes. I found the window to open.
Return to battle. 1 black. Return any one creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is, lets you get one of your slain generals back or whatever. Sort of a Raise Dead, I think, was the original card that did this. Swallowing his eye, the valiant Zhao Dun fought on, but Cao Cao's vanguard, its commander wounded, could not hold out for long.
No.
So that'll come up again once we get to that guy's creature card. He's another one of my favorite horsemanship characters that you can get. Next we have...
Lighting. Do we need a little bit more light? I don't know.
Well, we're okay for light, I think. I'm just trying to manage shadows and glares. Sima Yi, Wei Field Marshal. 6 cost for a star 4, where its power is equal to the number of swamp cards you have in play. So, best in a black heavy deck, sort of like, Nightmare used to be, same cost, but Nightmare was a star flying, and this is just a star 4 without any evasion ability. So, not as good, but there you go. Sima Yi fought for 4 generations of the Zhao family before his own grandson became emperor and united the 3 kingdoms. And next we have Stolen Grain. 6 cost. Stolen Grain deals 5 damage to your opponent. You gain 5 life. So sort of a preset amount. Drain life, except only can target your opponent instead of a creature. Is not very good. At the Battle of Guandu, Cao Cao defeated Yao Shao by raiding his grain depot, leaving him with no way to feed his troops. And the next one I'm also missing. Then we have Wei Ambush Force. So a 1/1 for 2. When Wei Ambush Force attacks, it gets +2 attack until end of turn. So on the attack, it's a 3/1 for 2, which is pretty solid, really, given the time. The Battle of Puyang marked the beginning of the end for Lu Bu. He lost the city and later his life to Cao Cao. Next we have Wei Assassins. They've just come out with an Assassin's Creed Magic the Gathering set, so...
I like that one you just finished.
The Ambush Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad for playing or for art. Wei Assassins is a 3/2 for 5. So, But when it comes into play, your opponent chooses one of his or her creatures, destroy that creature. So sort of a Necrotal effect, except it's a little bit more expensive for a 3/2 body instead of a 2/1 first strike. Sort of. That's the idea with this one. It's certainly a playable card because it's a 2-for-1, giving you a body on the board and getting rid of one of your opponent's creatures. But your opponent choosing the creature makes it worse in that way. Next, we have a 3/3 horsemanship for 5 again. This is the Wei elite companions. Chow Chow was more concerned with capabilities than lineage. He excelled at recruiting and retaining men of talent to serve him. Next we have the Wei infantry. 2/1 for 2. Pretty basic, but Wei won the Battle of Hefei when Zhang Liao defeated Sun Quan and then foiled a Wu scheme to incite rebellion.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite horsemanship cards here, the Wei Knight Riders. I think I've got 2 copies of these. There's one English and one non.
yes.
I don't know.
I know.
The other one, oops.
Allergies today.
The one isn't here apparently. I just gotta stick these back in there because they fell out on me. Wei Knight Riders. 4 cost, so not too expensive. It gets you a 2/2 horsemanship, a little below the curve just on stats, but when Wei Knight Rider successfully damages your opponent, which since it's near unblockable unless there's other horsemanship around is common, he or she chooses and discards a card. Again, back to that discarding theme for the Wei from his hand. So yeah, I like the Wei Knight Riders. I find that's one that I like to throw in whenever I'm using horsemanship if I'm in black, for sure. Wei Scout is a 1/1 horsemanship for 2. Again, one of the weaker horsemanship cards in terms of stats, but it's a common, so if you're looking for a relatively cheap, this might be one of the easier ones to find. He will win who, preparing himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. Sun Tzu, Art of War again. This is the same page again, because we're already on the back, so that one is done. And we're on to the next page. So here we have Wei Strike Force, another common horsemanship card. This one is a 2/1 for 3, unlike the Shu Cavalry. This one's 2/1 instead of 2/2, but
No, that's true.
at the Battle of Shangan, Ma Chao defeated the 2 generals Cao Cao sent to guard the pass, but was forced to flee when Cao Cao's trickery turned his own ally against him. Yeah, so you got the Wei Strike Force here. Now, the fact that it was black, because a lot of removal you've seen in this set is, killing a non-black creature. And that was a common theme in the early sets too, so that could be an advantage, but generally the lower toughness was not great. This is another one that there's a reprint of, and I tried finding, because I have a copy of the reprinted version as well, but Zhao Dun the One-Eyed, another of my favorites, and this one was quite popular, was one of the more valuable cards at one point. I don't know if it still is, but at least for horsemanship guys, it's probably the most expensive horsemanship card, or was, until it was reprinted. Not sure what it goes for these days. But for 4, you get a 3/2 horsemanship, so it hits a little harder than some. And on your turn, before you attack, you may put Zhao Dun into your graveyard to return a black card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's very useful. I used to use this guy as a commander. You can just getting back any black card you want. Very useful. And the flavor text we saw a couple cards ago talked about how this particular general lost his eye but kept on fighting, and strong dude.
Talking about fur babies in chat.
Right? Didn't want to look up the price on that one. Just out of
Sorry, I got
curiosity.
distracted by chat.
Sorry.
We have, what, I guess it's 2 fur babies now. We've got a dog. Well, he's a service dog, though.
I guess.
And a guinea pig.
And a guinea pig. We used to have ferrets a long time ago.
Fish are not furry. So which one is it?
Sorry, Zhao Dun, the one-eyed.
I'm looking at... Okay.
X-I-A-H.
Looking, yeah. X-I-A-H-O-U. Ha! Got it. Wow.
And
Which one is it?
this is the English Portal 3 Kingdoms. I also have a
There's a
version
promo
that
one,
yeah,
too.
there was a promo one as well. I
That
got
one's 330 Canadian. At
which
the
the
store.
the promo or the
No, the English, like.
oh, okay.
You want me to read that?
No, I've got the English one here. I just
Oh yeah,
did.
sorry, you do. You just want to see the price.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just out of curiosity. Because that was one of the cards I splurged to get a copy of back when I was doing my collection. I wasn't willing to pay, $800 for an Imperial Seal, but this one was nowhere near the price it is now anyway, but it was a little bit pricier.
I have a hard time paying anything over $50 for a card.
Yeah, I know.
Like, but if it's like the last card you want for a set, it's
Yeah.
like, eh.
This is Zuyu Wei Advisor, 3 cost for a 1/1, and on your turn before you attack, you may tap Zhao Yu to give one of your creatures +2 attack until end of turn. A splendid talent, admired of all men, his folly lay in serving Chow Chow's power. Next, we've got Young Wei Recruits. 2/2, can't block for 2. Yeah. Not the best creature, but 2/2 for 2 is aggressive at the time for cost. To send the common people to war untrained is to throw them away. Confucius, the Analytics. Oh boy, this is Yang. Could you look this one up, please?
Just 1 second.
It's a horsemanship card anyway. 4/2 horsemanship for 5, and I'm trying to remember what the trigger is on that +1 attack. But yeah, this guy can certainly deal some damage because of the horsemanship and higher power, really, on average. And then I'm missing the next card. Do you have any luck finding this?
Just a second, I was just typing
Okay,
something
well,
else.
we're running out of seconds.
I said a second.
Okay.
I just had to send a message. Alright, sorry. Which one am I looking for?
This one, I think it's Zhang He.
Okay, hold on a second.
ZH. I think it's Zhang He. Or, yeah.
I'm looking. Hold on. I'm just gonna look at Portal 3 Kingdoms and then find it. What is your favorite Portal 3 Kingdoms card? I'm just asking you so you have something to chat about while I look for it.
My favorite single card from this? It's really hard to say. There's a lot of nice, flavorful ones. I'd probably, if I had to pick just one, go with something like the Lu Su or Wei Knight Riders. Horsemanship that's not too
Just
expensive
go do it.
and has some nice effects if it gets through.
Sorry.
Those, I really appreciate those. Sun Quan can be very strong, giving your whole board the ability, but I really like the horsemanship
I'm
stuff.
looking for it.
Beyond horsemanship abilities, there's some fun cards in red. We haven't got to red yet, so I don't want to give too much away on that.
Okay. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, it's white or black?
It's black.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Starts with Z. I think it's Zhang He.
I'm looking for the picture. Look at the picture.
Zhang Wei.
Oh, I think I just found it. Sorry, what do you want to know about it? The
Just
text?
could you read it, please?
Yeah, horsemanship.
What's the title? Just so we're
Zhang He whatever Wei General.
yeah.
Horsemanship. When Zhang He attacks, all your other creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn.
All right, so it makes your other creatures +1 attack when it attacks. All right, so I knew there was something with that, but I wasn't sure what. Anyway, missing the next one. Sorry, we got hung up there. Now we're into the first of the Zodiac animals. There are 12 of these, one for each Zodiac sign. And as I mentioned before, the Zodiac Dragon is the only one I don't have. So, but I've got the rest, and there are 3 in black here. We got the Zodiac Pig, which is a 3/3 swamp walk for 4. Zhonghui and Deng A next led armies west, and to the Chao, Han's hills and streams now past.
Yes, Hedgehog Menace, that was Zhang Wei. Sorry, I'm horrible at pronouncing things. Alright.
Yeah.
I am adding a new mod right now because he said yes. If it lets me. It won't let me. Why won't it let me? Maybe I can on here.
So yeah, a 3/3 swamp walk for 4. That's sort of a bog wraith type abilities, but it's a pig. I don't know. It's not horrible. For efficiency's sake, Zodiac Rat as a 1/1 swamp walk for 1 is probably a little bit better, but it won't finish your opponent as fast, obviously. Zhao Pi, Chao Ryu, Fang Mao, and briefly Han. The Sima took the empire in their turn. And then we have Zodiac Snake, 2/2 swamp walk for 3. And again, these, I think the pig is uncommon, but the other 2 are commons. The snake and the rat. And they're all just swamp walkers of different sizes, for black ones. Thrice Zhan's ardent quest led to Nanyang, where Sleeping Dragon unveiled Han's partition. This is obviously like a series of quotes from the same work. I'm not sure what order they're supposed to be in technically.
Welcome, Tank. I know I said it on here, but you can say welcome.
Yes, thank you, Tank, and welcome as a new mod, I guess that is.
Well, we needed more.
Yeah. So there's the Zodiac Snake. Now we're into red. Barbarian General. So, red has some horsemanship cards too, but they're even worse costed than the others. So, Barbarian General is probably one of red's best ones that isn't, a rare character. This is an uncommon, and you get a 3/2 horsemanship for 5. Barbarian tribes with their rulers are inferior to Chinese states without them. Confucius Analytics quote.
Does that mean Copperhead's also cat? Becca's cat, yes, I believe so.
Then we've got the Barbarian Horde, a 3/3 creature for 4. Basically your hill giant. Only 20 years after the Sima clan united the empire, invading barbarians divided it again.
Good night, Isabel.
Good night, Mom.
Grandma and Grandpa, both of them will be here at some point.
Blaze has been reprinted in other sets, but I don't think with this art or flavor
know.
text ever. Sorcery, red and X. Blaze deals X damage to any one creature or player. Pretty basic card, but very effective and nicely scalable depending how much mana you have available. Spreading Flames, Illuminated Cloud and Sea. Chow Chow went down. 'Twas Zhao Yu's victory. Burning Fields for 5. Sorcery, Burning Fields does 5 damage to your opponent. So just a straight 5 to the
Do you want
face.
a drink or something?
Sure, that would be nice.
One of these or something else?
Yeah, that sounds good. In raiding and plundering, be like fire. In immovability, like a mountain. Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Last two.
I don't know. I'd like the cherry.
That's fine. I think we got more of the campers.
Now, here, Burning of Xingyi. This is another one that I got a reprint because it was cheaper and easier to find. This reprint was... Where's the year? Not easy to read, is it?
Can I see it? Where did it say? A little bit more light, maybe? 93 to 99? This one? Which one? This one or that one?
This one.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to find the print year on here.
I don't see a year. Wait, hold on. 2014.
2014, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I don't recognize the symbol, but it was one of their promotionary products by the look of it. It was probably another one of the from the vault sets or something. You destroy 4 lands you control, then target opponent destroys 4 lands he or she controls, then Burning of Zangyi does 4 damage to each creature. So this is a major, destroy lots of lands and kill lots of creatures in sort of a board wipe type effect. Not a complete board wipe, though. Next, Control of the Court. 2 cost, sorcery, draw 4 cards, and put them into your hand. Then discard 3 cards at random from your hand. This type of effect, was it sort of Faithless Looting, has been a more recent, well, that's not even recent anymore. That's one of the last sets that I got some of. I remember it being popular, just being able to cycle through your deck quickly, and even if you're putting cards in your graveyard, you can reanimate them or do other tricks with that. Stocking your graveyard is useful. So, yeah, I could see this one probably being worth a bit nowadays. Is this an uncommon or a common? I think that's an uncommon too, so yeah.
I forget the name.
Apparently I'm live. I thought we already were. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's silly.
Power-hungry eunuchs, the curse of the dynasty, have thrown the masses of the people into the depths of misery. I forget the name, but it was sort of like the Dual Decks product with special Pringle foiling. Okay. That's talking about Burning of Zhangji, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be. I don't remember where half of these were from now. It's been a while. Like I said, that capture of Zhangu was the most recent one I got. Most of these was, over a decade ago now. Corrupt Eunuchs. 2/2 for 4. When Corrupt Eunuchs comes into play, it deals 2 damage to any one creature. So, again, you're paying 4 for a 2/2, but you could also kill something of your opponent's if it can be done with 2 damage. So that's not a bad card either. I think this one
Apparently,
might see some play.
Mr. DJ Longhair was gifted a few of those on their channel.
Oh, nice.
Would be a nice land set in multicolor commander.
land set. I think we're talking about something else.
Maybe. I don't know. Something might have got missed.
Maybe. Desert Sandstorm. 3 costs. Desert Sandstorm deals 1 damage to each creature. While pursuing the remnants of Yang Shao's forces into the Wuhan Desert, Cao Cao was temporarily turned back by a fierce sandstorm.
I think he's talking about the foiling.
Okay,
Like that
could
from
be.
that set.
Well, that's unfortunately the Wuhan Desert has become more better known lately.
Oh, yeah.
There's another reprint from more recent times. This is from 2012, I guess. Well, it's not super recent, but Dao Chan Artful Beauty was another card that probably would have set me back close to $100 back in the day, and then they reprinted it, so I was able to pick one up much cheaper than that. So I appreciate that.
Becca, you're the best. Just have to say it.
Another legendary creature, a 1/1 for 4, and tap it to destroy target creature of your choice. Then destroy target creature of an opponent's choice. Activate this ability only during your turn and before attacks are declared. So this could be handy in a multiplayer game like Commander. Because, yeah, tap it and I get to kill something, and then you pick an opponent and they
The
get
art
to...
on that card is really nice, so I like it.
It is nice. So, a typical dancing girl being sneaky and manipulative, but...
No, I'm talking about the art is nice.
Yes, it is well done as far as the art goes. And that's the end of the first page of the red. Next card I'm missing. I remember, I don't know if I've got it or not, but there was a red card that I liked that I was always looking for, but it was always a little bit more than I wanted to pay. It was above $10 or something. Do I have one? Probably not. I don't think I ever got one. It was, oh no, I did. Never mind. It's only on the back of this page. So I'm not sure what this card was, but it starts with either D or E.
What number would it be? Because maybe I can look it up by number.
It doesn't really matter. It would have been number 109.
109.
But we haven't been looking at most of the ones I've been missing, so...
My iPad is running slow.
Oh, goody, more Unix. Unix Intrigue. For 3, opponent chooses one of his or her creatures. Only that creature can block this turn. So, this is a good way to sneak past things, or if there's a creature that's troublesome that isn't usually used in combat that you want to try and force into combat. Oh, congratulations on hitting the 42 subs. That's good. Fire Ambush. 2 cost. Fire Ambush deals 3 damage to any one creature or player. So this was basically your Volcanic Hammer of Portal 3 Kingdoms. Not a bad card by any means. Usually pretty useful to get 3 damage to anything for 2, even at sorcery speeds. So, with fire, he broke the battle at Boang, striking fear deep into Cao Cao's soul. Thus, Kong Ming scored a coup at his debut. So, coup. Anyway. And then we've got Fire Bowman. 1/1 for 1 red. On your turn, before you attack, you may destroy Fire Bowman to have it deal 1 damage to any one creature or player. This was basically a take on Mog Fanatic, I believe. You can do a damage to anything, but you gotta sacrifice it to do it. Potentially useful as a 1-drop. This was one of the more sought-after cards in the set for a long time. It was an uncommon, but even at uncommon, it got expensive for a while. The Imperial Recruiter. A 1/1 for 3. When it comes into play, search your library for a creature card with power no greater than 2. Reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library afterwards. So for 3, you're tutoring up a creature with that one restriction of its power can't be greater than 2, but there's lots of utility creatures you could find, and you get a 1/1 body on the board. So it's quite efficient just for that, but I think you could also use it in certain combos. Allurin comes to mind, but I'm sure there are much better ones these days. It was one of those things. Both this and Imperial Seal were 2 of the most sought-after cards for actual decks, tournament play type stuff. And both start with the word Imperial, so that was handy for searches back in the day. I think, yeah, they've probably reprinted Imperial Recruiter a couple times by now. I'm pretty sure they've reprinted this thing. Independent Troops, 2/1 for 2. The Empire, long united, must divide, and long divided must unite. Now this one is fun. Lu Bu, Master at Arms, a 4/3 horsemanship for 6. Little pricey, but Lu Bu is unaffected by summoning sickness, so it can come in and attack the turn it comes into play, unlike other creatures, which can take your opponent by surprise, which is nice. 3/4 for 6 is still a little pricey, but with that and the horsemanship being mostly unblockable, it's nice. Now you notice the date on here, July 4th, 1999. This was a pre-release card. If you went to the pre-release tournament, there was a promotional card that you would get going to the tournament. So you could get this card without a date, with this date, or there was another date, I think in August. I could be wrong on that, but there's 2 different dates that you could get on these cards, or one without the date. And I forget which was. This was probably the cheapest one I could find. That's probably just what it is, but it's neat that it shows that this was the pre-release card for this set. And again, it's a horsemanship creature, which is one of my favorite elements of the set. So, Dong Zhao's man, Lu Blue, warrior without peer, far surpassed the champions of his sphere. So again, I guess this guy, being in red, wasn't one of the tied to one of the 3 main kingdoms, but was more in line with one of the barbarian tribes. Master at Arms got a huge bump in price after what?
Lord of the Rings.
I don't remember Master at Arms. I don't know if I know that card. Next we have Mao Cho, Western Warrior. 3/3 horsemanship for 5. Whenever Mao Cho attacks and no other creatures do, Mao Cho can't be blocked. Which is a little redundant on a horsemanship creature most of the time, but, you know, it is extra cannot be blocked for a 3/3 for 5 if it attacks alone. Again, I find they do better art on the horses than on the actual people in a lot of these pictures. I don't know if it's just me or what. Lomu, you just showed the card. Master at Arms. Or my... Oh, okay. I was thinking Master at Arms being the whole title. I didn't when I think of these, I think of them more as the name than as their description. So that's why I didn't recognize which one you were talking about. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think of him as Lu Bu. The Master at Arms descriptor afterwards I usually don't consider as much. Sorry. Next we have Mountain Bandit, a 1/1 for 1. Mountain Bandit is unaffected by summoning sickness. So yay, a hasty 1/1 for 1. Penniless and far from home, many former yellow scarves and other soldiers became bandits to survive. Next, we have Ravaging Horde. This is one that I've got a soft spot for, resource control denial. So a 3/3 for 5 that when it comes into play, destroy any one land. This just seems like a good deal to me. It's again a 2 for 1. I get a body and you lose a land. Why not? I like it. People probably think I'm mean, but I like this card. Upon his return to the capital after taking soldiers to loot a nearby peaceful town, the Prime Minister, Dong Zhao, boasted of it as a victory over bandits.
The stupid light is reflecting off that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where did I find it? I don't know.
Relentless Assault. This has been printed in a few sets, even before this one, I think. 2 red and 2, so 4. Untap all creatures that attacked this turn. You may declare an additional attack this turn. Very handy. Get to swing in, and if you have a good attack, oh look, I get to do it all again. Not quite taking a whole extra turn by any means, but certainly a good way to push the envelope. With only 70,000 men under his command at the Battle of Gunadu, Cao Cao was able to defeat Yan Shao and his 700,000. Next we have Renegade Troops. 4/2 for 5. Renegade Troops is unaffected by summoning sickness, so another hasty guy that can come down and swing. 4/2 for 5. Not great in size. You just relying on the surprise factor with this one. Across the land, rebellions seethed and swarmed as victorious warlords swooped down on all sides. Sorry, as vicious, not victorious warlords. Yes. Rock Slide Ambush. 2 cost. Rock Slide Ambush deals to any one creature damage equal to the number of mountain cards you have in play. So, this one could be potentially good, like if you've built up a fair amount of land. And next we've got the Rolling Earthquake. This is another one that used to get a little pricey at times. Not the most in the set, but I got a reprint of it because of that 2014. And this is Rolling Earthquake deals X damage to each creature without horsemanship and each player. So this is basically a take on Earthquake that deals damage to each creature without flying in each player. Except in this set, they made flying into horsemanship. So this will hit almost every creature. And you're probably the only one expecting it. So you'd be the only one to have any horsemanship creatures that would survive this. And you can wipe the rest of the creatures on the board, in theory, unless they've got protection from red or some other trick up their sleeve. But Rolling Earthquake can be quite an effective card because of that. Or if you just happen to have more life than your opponent and can finish them off this way, it's a pretty decent card overall.
So let me join the cooler whether outside or not.
Yep. Good old Stone Rain. This has been around since Alpha, but here's this version. And 3 cost, destroy any one land. Soldiers often blocked off the steep mountain passes to ambush enemy troops in western and central China. Next one I'm missing as well, and then we're into the Yellow Scarves. So Yellow Scarves Cavalry. 1/1 for 2 horsemanship, and Yellow Scarves Cavalry can't block. So it's hard to block, but it can't block at all itself. Yeah, the yellow scarves are probably some of the weakest horsemanship guys, but I mean, it's a common with horsemanship. If you're looking for cheaper horsemanship cards, this is probably one of the ones that could be found. I mentioned the 3 starter decks. There was also a little 2-player thing, I think, to intro to battle against each other that was red green, as I recall. So yeah, all the cards were colors were covered in some form, as I recall. Yellow Scarves General. So for double the cost, you get double the size. It's a 2/2 for 4. And again, it can't block and it's got horsemanship. Same stats, just double the cost, double the size, and it wasn't a great rate to begin with, so.
I guess I
Yeah.
need to work on spelling. I think we all do some days.
Zhang Zhu, leader of the Yellow Scarves Rebellion, was a Taoist master and tutored his soldiers in those arts. So that's that page. Now we're on to the last page of red and the start of green.
How many more colors or pages do you have?
Green is the last
Oh,
color.
okay.
And then there's some lands, but they're just basic lands and, with different art, which I can show quickly. Yellow Scarves Troops. 2/2 for 2. Yellow Scarves Troops can't block. Over 500,000 commoners followed Zhang Zhu, General of Heaven, and his attempt to overthrow the corrupt Han Dynasty. A whole lot of can't block for these Yellow Scars, guys. This one, at least, is more aggressively costed, unlike the cavalry. This guy, what the hang was his name? It's card 128, and it starts with a Y.
Give me a second, I'll look it up.
It's probably Yan Chao, because the next card is Yan Chao's infantry. So I'm guessing this guy's Yan Chao.
How do you spell?
YUANSH.
Yeah, sorry, a second. YAUN?
Yep. And then SHAO.
SH. So no C, I don't know why I thought it was AO. Okay, yeah, I got it.
So what does he do again? 5 for 2/3. Horsemanship, I guess.
Yeah, horsemanship. Each of your creatures can't be blocked by more than one creature each turn, as long as Yuan Shao is in play.
Okay, so he makes your hard to block creatures even harder to block. That's, again, a bit redundant, and his size isn't great for his cost, so he's typical of this whole group here. And here's Yao Shao's infantry. 2/2 for 4. When it attacks and no other creatures do, then it can't be blocked. So, yeah.
Just need to get better lighting for our
Sneaky
videos
troops.
and stuff.
Next, we're into the Zodiac critters again. Again, red had 3, just like black had 3. So we got the Zodiac Dog, 2/2 Mountain Walk for 3. Looks like a nice, friendly dog in the picture. Zhang Wei alone still strove with the might and main. 9 times more he fought the north in vain. The next one here would be the Zodiac Dragon, if I had one. But I do not have a Zodiac Dragon.
The dog reminds me of Littlest Topo.
Yeah, kind of a little.
Oh, but I think only Canadians know about that.
Probably.
I think it's a Canadian show.
Then we've got a Zodiac Goat, which is a 1/1 mountain walk for 1 red. So there's half the Zodiac. There were 3 in black, there were 3 in red, and the last 6 are all in green. And unlike the red, which all have mountain walk, and the black, which all have swamp walk, you get a bit more variety when you get to green. Well, they don't all, because, like I said, the Zodiac Dragon was a big 8/8 beastie that came back when it went to your graveyard. Alright. Next we have the green. And I forget what the first card in green is, so... Oops.
I need the Zodiac Dragon, but that's some money.
It sure is.
Ugh.
The Zodiac Dragon and the Imperial Edict are the two most expensive cards in the set. They always have been, as far as I know.
Oh.
Unless something's moved and changed, but those two were, for a long time, the most expensive cards in the set.
I'm just looking at a shop, and that was the last time they had one.
Yeah.
Zodiac Dragon?
Yeah. False Morning.
It's taking forever.
Take any one card from your graveyard and put that card on the top of your library. Zhao Yu, Sun Ce, and other famous generals feigned their deaths in order to later surprise their opponents. Now this is interesting. This is Forest Bear. It's a 2/2 for 2. It's not special in any way, but for some reason, it's really expensive. It's one of the most expensive commons in the set. I don't know why. It's a 2/2 bear for 2. Like a grizzly bear, like a Moldovan bear. It's like any other 2/2 for 2 bear. There's been a bunch of them, but this one for some reason is expensive, and it doesn't even have that great art. Like, this is not the best bear picture I've ever seen.
So
I don't get it.
it
I
looks
don't know.
like the Zodiac Dragon is $650 or $500 depending on which one.
Right, well, condition and whatever else. Fish and bear paws. One can't have both. Chinese idiom meaning you can't have it both ways.
Bears are best.
Okay, but then why is this bear so different than all the others?
That bear is
Anyway,
expensive? Or?
Yes, this particular bear,
called, sorry?
Forest Bear.
And we're just looking at a store.
It's
again.
a common,
It's probably
but
cheap
as far
somewhere.
as the commons go, it's one of the more expensive commons in the set. Like it.
Because he's going roar.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
$45. Okay.
Yeah.
That's in stock at 401 Games, which is where we sometimes shop.
And then we got Heavy Fog. Play Heavy Fog only after you've attacked before you declare blockers. This turn, all damage dealt to you by attacking creatures is reduced to 0. Yeah, it's a fog. Except it costs 2, and it's a sorcery. So, like I say, they probably errated some of these, but...
I love the comment because he's going roar. That's awesome.
Yeah. Then we got, again, this is a reprint that I picked up later. 2013. Tao Ho, Honored Physician. A 1/2 for 3. Tap it and put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Activate this ability only during your turn before attacks are declared. So, yeah, you can get your creatures back on top of your library and draw them again later.
It's dope, but not $45 to $60 dope.
Yeah. Hunting Cheetah. As I recall, I liked this one. 2/3 for 3, so a little bit better than your 2/2 for 3 average at this time. When Hunting Cheetah successfully damages your opponent, you may search your library for a forest card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your library afterwards. So it helps thin the lands out of your deck and gives you more lands to play things with later.
I like that one.
I like it too.
I used to love
It struck
cheetahs.
me as being one of the better creatures in the set overall. I think it's an uncommon.
It used to be one of my favorite animals that I wished I had a pet of.
There's missing a lot on this page. Missing a lot on this page. Next one I've got is Lone Wolf. I think there's like a big wolf or something somewhere here that I didn't get. But Lone Wolf is a 2/2 for 3. When Lone Wolf attacks and is blocked, you may have it deal its damage to the defending player instead of the creature blocking it. And then I'm missing another. Lady Zhong is one of the ones I'm missing. And she, I think, gives +1/+1 to all your green creatures or something. I think she's
Want me to look it up?
yeah, why not?
Which one? Sorry.
I think it's Lady Zhong or Lady Zhong. The Z.
Lady
Lady.
Z?
Maybe ZH something, or maybe or J something.
Yes. No, ZHURONG.
Okay, so that would go here if I had it.
Yeah, that one is like 120. It's sold out at the store.
Yeah, well, I didn't grab it because it's
Wolfie. How much is that one? How much? What was it? Wolfie.
Wolf.
Wolf. It said Wolf. It said VOL. Oh, Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
That one.
No, that.
No, he wants to know how
I just
much it is.
wanted to refresh my memory on what the Lady Zhong did.
A
Anyway.
man and such a fool, a woman will fight them for you. Lady Zhuang to her husband Meng Huo before leading an army against the Shu. No, but I can look up the Lone Wolf for that.
Anyway, I think it was something like a 4/3 or something for 5 that gave your green creatures +1.
Oh, that part is what you wanted to know.
Yeah.
It's 4. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't get rid of it yet.
And I don't know what these other ones were. Meng Ho is probably one of these other ones because Meng Ho's Horde is
I
next.
lost it. Sorry. No.
Anyway,
Sorry.
Meng Ho's Horde is a 4/5 for 5. Though his allies, through his allies, Meng Ho commanded several 100,000 troops, composed of cavalry, rattan armored warriors, infantry, naked men with swords, and wild animals.
The Lone Wolf Portal 3 Kingdoms is a $16.20 20 CAD at the store.
Okay. Well,
Sorry, somebody asked about it.
Okay.
Meng
Meng Ho?
DJ Longhair asked about how much the Lone Wolf card was, and that's Canadian, and that's at a local a shop in Canada.
Yeah. Meng Ho is one of the other cards that was missing. Probably this one here. So Lady Zhong and her husband, I guess. I'm missing both of them. So.
Meng House Horde or Meng.
They're just a Meng Ho.
Oh. Let's see.
This one is one of the more interesting cards and was, again, fairly well sought after for an uncommon in the set. Yeah, Meng Ho Barbarian King is the other one.
And that's Canadian.
Oh, no, that one gives the green creature bonus.
I don't know.
I don't know what the other one was.
I don't know if you're in Canada or the States, Mr. DJ.
Or some other country.
Or somewhere else. Yeah.
Anyway, riding the Dilu horse is interesting in that it's 3 cost. Any one creature gets +2/+2 and gains horsemanship. And the way this was worded in opposition to or compared to riding Red Harry, which gave +3/+3 in horsemanship until end of turn, meant that this bonus wasn't until end of turn. This is basically a permanent, like an enchantment, except it's not an enchantment. It's just the creature gets +2/+2 in horsemanship permanently. That is a very strong ability. And so this card was sought after and it drove the price up and whatever. Yeah, no worries. A lot of these cards are cool. I like that too. Ballpark is good to know. Just keep in mind that Canadian is... things always cost more in Canadian because the Canadian dollar is not worth as much as the American dollar generally. So yeah, riding the Dilu horse, very fun. All men have their appointed time. That's something no horse can change. Liu Bei, after being told that the Dilu brings its master ill fortune.
I like the horse cards.
Yeah.
I love horses.
And now we're on to the next page.
I used to go to my neighbors. I'd ride my bike down like a few kilometers away from our house and go and feed the horses grass.
And we're missing the first card on the next page too. Then we're on to Southern Elephant. It's an elephant. It's 3/4 for 4. So, again, compared to other cards that cost 4 in this set, that's a decent size. While defending their southern borders, both the Wu and Shu kingdoms fought against the barbarians' trained elephants.
I like that elephant.
It's more stylistic than realistic, but I do like the picture. It is nice.
I'm all about the art. I don't care about how realistic it is.
Next we have Spoils of Victory. So for 3 as a sorcery, search your library for a plains, island, swamp, mountain, or forest card, and put that land into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. So yeah, go get any of the basic land types and put it straight into play. It's, there are similar cards that have been around for a while. But it's a way to get more land out quicker and thin your deck. Spring of Eternal Peace. For 5, you gain 8 life. Pretty simple. Doesn't impact the state of the board. For a card that costs 5, that's a bit of a drawback. But you do get 8 life for 5, which is better than you'd get with a Stream of Life or something like that. Bathing in this spring could cure ailments of body and mind alike. Next, we have the Stalking Tiger. I like the cheetah better. This one's a 3/3, so it's a bit bigger for your 4. Stalking Tiger can't be blocked by more than 1 creature each turn. So you can't double block it. It's got to be just a one-on-one fight. 3/3 for your 4. It's not bad. It's playable. It's within the set anyway. Now we've got Taoist Hermit.
That's cool.
And it's a 2/2 for 3. Whenever your opponent chooses a creature in play, he or she can't choose Taoist Hermit. So basically, this is this set's version of Untargetable. Or Shroud, I guess, is the keyword they've given
I like
it
the
now.
art on that one.
Taoists chose to be hermits for many reasons, but all shared one unchanging goal: to follow the Tao. I think one of the other cards I was missing was a Maoist something or other, too. There was Taoists and Maoists in this set. Anyway, there's also a Taoist Mystic as opposed to Hermit. Taoist Mystic can't be blocked by creatures with horsemanship.
I like that one, too.
By appearing in places miles apart at the same time, Zhu Si exhibited the mystic's ability to shrink the land. 2/2 for 3.
I wonder if 9 o'clock might be a better start time.
Not very useful ability. Can't be blocked by creatures with horsemanship in most formats, but, within the set, it could be useful.
Do you think 9 o'clock might be a better start time next time?
It might be.
Especially if you're coming off days.
Yeah, it depends what topic we're doing next time, too. Anyway, Taunting Challenge. For 3, choose any one creature. This turn, all creatures able to block it do so.
Ooh, I like
So
that
this
one.
is sort of a lure.
It's a horse, that's why.
Got it on the horse. Incensed by their opponent's unrelenting taunts, even the wise generals were known to rashly lead their troops into battle, often to disastrous defeats. 3 Visits is another expensive common from this set. I think this one also got a reprint recently. At least I think I heard it was going to be reprinted anyway. Search your library for a forest card and put that forest into play. Shuffle your library afterward. This one is special because it's a forest, not a basic forest. So it differs from Spoils to Victory in that way. Also, it comes into play untapped, which is a nice bonus. Most things that cost you 2 to search up a land can't do that. So, a couple sets ago, yeah, it did get reprinted recently, but it's still a nice card, and it was very popular. It was due for a reprint because, again, it was a common and it was getting ridiculous in price, just because this was its only printing for a long time. Trying to meet a worthy man in the wrong way is as bad as closing the door on an invited guest. Mencius, a Chinese philosopher. Okay. I'm sure there's a story behind this, but
Wolfang Gaming, how does this
really know
work?
it.
I'm not sure what. Maybe just asking what about our stream or the game.
I'm not sure.
Well, this is just Barry's Portal Through Kingdoms.
Yeah,
collection.
I've just been going through talking about different sets, my thoughts on the cards and the set as a whole. I've been doing one each Monday for about a month now.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, for Magic the Gathering. I did Homelands first, then Fallen Empires, then The Dark, and now Portal 3 Kingdoms. In the future, I might try Alliances or Stronghold or something. Or eventually I'll get into, decks or other products, like maybe dual decks and things like that.
So this particular stream is about Magic the Gathering for tonight.
Yeah.
That's our Monday night stream.
Yeah.
But we mostly do Pokemon. And we get into a little bit of other things too.
Sometimes we do a little Arcana or, Harry Potter or other things. Yeah. I'm hoping to get into more Star Trek and Star Wars too, and, other old games that I always enjoyed.
3 visits P3K is 45.
Yeah, and that might have come down a little. I think it was up as high as 75 at one point.
Oh, P3K is Portal 3 Kingdoms. Okay,
yes.
Got it. I'm just a little slow tonight.
So here we got a changed cheetah. 2/2 for 3. When changed cheetah attacks and is blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it becomes a 3/3 if you block it. King Mulu's cheetahs came riding on the winds, charging with fangs bared and claws flexed. And then we've got trained jackal. And this again is just a 1-mana 1/2 creature.
Some sort of things that can get $100 on that card, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not surprised someone's trying.
People try all kinds of crazy things.
To taunt a man into action, call him a coward. To insult him beyond forgiveness, call him a jackal. Then we've got Tripwire. Destroy any one creature with horsemanship. That's a 3-cost sorcery. Tripwire, hooked poles, and sunken pits were commonly used to unhorse riders during the Three Kingdoms period, setting traps for the poor horses. This card is pretty narrow and pretty useless. Where it comes in handy and can be hilarious is if you happen to know your play group has a person or people who do play horsemanship quite often, they'll never expect running into green removal targeted specifically to horsemanship. It's so narrow that, if it might just be useful, it could be hilarious. That's about as much as you can say for this card.
It's the most useful green sorcery ever printed.
Yeah, not in the slightest, but it's but it could be fun. Wielding the Green Dragon. There's a 2-cost sorcery. Any one creature gains +4/+4 until end of turn. So give your creature a big boost before it swings. This is basically monstrous growth from the earlier
like
Portal
it's
ones. I think he's just sort of running, sort of looping in a circle, so it's leaning to the side a bit.
Flying off.
I don't know. I think he's just sort of striking down.
I was behind. I was talking about this one.
Oh yeah, that's the tripwire. That's the horse.
It's the delay.
Sorry. Named for the eastern part of the sky, the source of energy and renewal, Guan Yu's crescent moon blade weighed over 100 pounds. That's a big bladed stick to be carrying around. And then I'm missing the next one here. And then we're into the green Zodiac critters. So we've got a Zodiac horse. Island walk on a green creature. There are a few green creatures with island walk. River boa is particularly infamous, but it's not super common. 3/3 for 4 isn't a horrible rate. First, take Jingzhou, Jingxiao. Next, the Riverlands. On that rich region, base your own royal stand. Then we've got the Zodiac Monkey. A 2/1 for 2 with Forest Walk. By 6 offenses from the hills of Kui, Kongming sought to change Han's destiny. Zodiac Monkey. I'm missing something. It's a joke. That's okay.
I just told Becca she's amazing and love her. And she's like, oh, stop.
Next, we got the Zodiac Ox. 3/3 Swamp Walk for 4. And that's Chow's abdication changed the face of all. No mighty battles marked the Southland's fall.
Yeah. Sorry.
Next, we got Zodiac Rabbit. I wonder why these Zodiac, like, a lot of them are commons, most of them are uncommons. The only rare one is the Zodiac Dragon. But they've all gone up in value a certain amount. I wonder if people just like getting their Zodiac sign or whatever as a card. Like, I don't know. They're not great cards, generally speaking, but they've all got land walk. Most of them have land walk.
Luke has never seen these Zodiac creatures before.
They are cool. I'll give them that.
Mr. DJ comes in and says Bunny, and I'm like, where's Bunny? I don't see her because I was looking for Chaotic Bunny, but no, it's a bunny.
Zodiac Rabbit. 1/1 Forest Walk for 1. The world's affairs rush on, an endless stream. Sky told fate, infinite in reach, dooms all.
Have to clip that part for Chaotic Bunny.
Did we ever do a clip of opening that Fallen Empires pack?
I don't know, we can go back and do that, but I don't know if it took longer than like so many seconds. I don't know how to clip longer. We need somebody who's really, really good at their...
Alright, we've got my last page now. I think that Portal 3 Kingdoms was actually 8-card packs. Like the earlier sets that I was talking about before, the Homelands, Fallen Empires, Dark, they were all 8-card packs. But I think with the Portal 3 Kingdoms, it was 10-card packs and they included 2 basic land.
More rabbits in Bloomborough. I don't know what that means.
Bloomborough is a new set that either... I think it's coming out soon. I don't think it's released yet.
Okay.
But they're apparently making more rabbits in it. So I like the Zodiac Rooster just because Planeswalk is not a very common ability, and most cards that I knew of that had it were extremely overcosted. This is not overcosted to that extent. It's a 2/1 creature for 2 with Planeswalk. It's not that bad. Yeah, Zodiac Rooster is one of the ones that I would most consider trying to play with potentially.
You know, just a second. You know, you said that there's rumors that they might do like Magic the Gathering Hobbits.
No, there's no rumors. I just figured Tales of Middle-earth, The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're going to do Tales of Middle-earth, The Hobbit, or Tales of Middle-earth, Silmarillion, or something like that next.
Wouldn't it be cool if they did like Radagast Brown and his rabbits and stuff like that? That would be a really cool card.
Except that's not from the book. That's just something they made up for the movie.
I don't care. It would be a cool card. Even if it wasn't in the books. I think that'd be a cool card.
It could be. I think there's lots of cool stuff from the books that never got into the movie.
I'll let you continue. Sorry.
That'd be
okay, Becca.
more interesting to put in anyways. But the time of Han had run. Could he, Kongming, not tell? That night his master star fell past the hills. It's the Zodiac Rooster.
Sorry, I'm just seeing the art.
And the last really Zodiac animal, I think, is the Zodiac Tiger. 3/4 Forest Walk for 4. 3 Kings No More. Shenlu, Guinming, and Anil. The fifes and post must now be filled anew. Yeah, I think this is a poem or something that they chopped up the stanzas for all the different Zodiac animals. Not entirely sure how that
A lot
works,
of
though.
poems in other
Paper Tiger is a personal favorite of mine. Yeah, that was from the first Unglued set.
a lot of poems in other countries, when they translate it, it's not the same. Like, I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
in the original language because it doesn't flow together when you try and say it in English. It's like,
Not always the best, no. Translating poetry is more difficult
yeah.
than translating prose and stuff.
Yeah.
There's another card here that starts with a Z that I forget what it is, and then we're into the basic lands. Basic lands don't even have any text on them other than the titles. I got them all in, whatever language was cheapest and not English, just because I figured if I was going to get other cards in not English, the ones with less text made the most sense. So I'll just show the different art for the planes. There's 3 different pictures. They're rather nice. I think the mountains, for some reason, are the most expensive in this. I forget. Anyway, here's the islands. Most of these islands, you see, seem to be on lakes or rivers. So you don't have many sort of coastal islands, which is most Magic islands seem to be out in a vast, huge amount of water, whereas these islands at least are, on enclosed bodies of water more. I like the grain shown on the plains. Next we have the swamps. Fallen statue there. Nice touch. I can tell you have a really interesting collection. Well, I've been collecting for a long time, and there's certain things that piqued my interest more than others for sure. And here's the mountains. Very tall mountains. Rising out of the landscape there. And then finally the forests. I do like the art on some of these forests.
Kamigawa proves people don't even want English. I'm sorry, I can't say the word. Want English.
Oh, I do have an English one. Look at that. I have an English forest.
Okay.
Must have been the only art I could, the only one I could find with that art or something. Well, maybe. Kamigawa was a strange set, as I recall. Champions of Kamigawa, Betrayers of Kamigawa, Saviors of Kamigawa, that was that block. Did they ever revisit that later on? They probably have since then. I don't even... Last decade or so of Magic sets, I really have missed a lot. Anyway, there's the basic lands. Not much to say about them, but it's nice art.
So we can try and raid somebody in a bit if everybody can stick around.
If anyone has any input on what you'd like me to see me do next, I could. Oh yeah, that's random. There's Kid Icarus cards.
Hi back, I'm Tank. Nice.
But yeah, I could do dig up some Italian legends and try and do some of that, but that would be even more frustrating to try and read and figure out if I can't remember things.
Yeah.
More likely, I think something like either Stronghold or Alliances would be the other 2 sets I could try and do this format. The Ice Age I have is not. I don't have a binder for it anywhere.
No,
it's all
it takes
scattered.
some time to find it, I guess.
The other thing I could do is might as well turn the page while I'm waiting. If anyone cares about Kid Icarus, I don't know. I've got a bunch of dual deck stuff that I reconstructed, and I could go through some of those old decks. Oh, look at that, Skylanders.
Oh yeah.
This binder gets so eclectic and weird. It's yeah.
Skylanders was fun.
And then we're into the
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing cards.
Yeah. But as soon as we well, maybe not as soon because we're gonna have to order some stuff. But when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are going to do a 1K celebration, probably 24-hour live stream, and we're gonna be doing some giveaways.
had once. What happened to Skylanders?
I don't know.
They just stopped making games for it.
Oh, okay. Like we stopped playing at one point.
Sold
Used
my
to be one of
RV and
favorite
Mabel
games.
Cat card set a few years ago for like $200.
Yeah,
So-
the RV ones are hard to find.
Not sure who you guys want to. Right now, Cali Life TCG is live.
Here's some Transformers cards. I might talk about this. There was a couple of times over the last couple of years when I picked up a few things just out of interest's sake, but they weren't really enough to get me back into it, and this was one of those.
Okay.
I liked the Transformers cartoon. As a fan of the Transformers themselves, I thought this mini set was kind of cool, but as magic cards to play with, these seem horrible to me. I don't like the whole flipping the card over to do things mechanic. That just seems bad to me.
So Mr. DJ Longhair is going live in 25 minutes. So if we wanted to, we could wait until he goes live and just raid him. Or we
I don't
could-
know if we want to, like, are we planning, like, do we have stuff to do for another 25 minutes to wait that long?
I don't know. We could talk about stuff and we could show off a few things that we will be opening in the future.
We could.
But, well,
Here's an
let's-
old Alliances checklist from back when I was collecting the set.
double sleeve avoid damage.
Yeah, that's usually a good tip for... Oh, this is in bad shape.
Yeah, I have an 8 a.m.
Effective.
full appointment tomorrow, so I probably won't sleep much. Yeah, that's never fun. I've had 3 molars pulled. It's not pleasant.
This is neat too because this is the first or one of the early versions of the reserved list that included commons and uncommons. The Demonic Tutor's on here. That's been reprinted a bunch of times. Sol Ring is printed in like every commander deck now. Where's some other good examples? I saw some things earlier.
I do
but-
see 2 people that I'm subscribed to right now too that are, or actually there's a few. Although only 2 are Pokemon. Jay's Corner's live right now. They have 37 watching, and Daniel, aka Pop, has 18 watching. Jay is opening Crown Zenith, and Pop is opening Japanese 151, I think. And Paldea Evolves, I think they're looking for. So,
I think we got bugs coming in the
few
window.
ideas. I'll close the window. It was just a nice breeze.
Yeah, Clone is an uncommon. That's been reprinted a bunch of times. Yeah, Alliances was the second set I ever collected. And I rather enjoyed it. But there's one really annoying thing about Alliances, and that's the rare 6s. You can see things, common ones, common 2s, that so many times they were on the common sheet. Same thing with the uncommons, uncommon 2s, rare 2s. Most rares are rare 2s. They were only on the sheet twice, but there were 3 rare 6s. And those, when you opened a pack, were very, very common to open. Where the hang are they? They were so frustrating because you'd always be opening the rare 6s, which were Urza's Engine, I believe. I should just look them up by name. That would be easier. Where's you? Soul Grail. Is this not even... Oh, that, no wonder. It continues on the back. Yeah, there's Soul Grail. There's a rare 6. Urza's Engine is up here somewhere. Rare 6. And Whirling Catapult, I believe. Yeah, Whirling
it
Catapult
wasn't?
was the other rare 6. Those 3 cards, it seemed like were in every other pack. It was very, very irritating.
Thought somebody else was coming live. If he's live.
MTG specials.
Oh, no,
Your
true.
Mana Crypt, Arena, Nathali Dragon, Windseeker Centaur.
These give a lot more numbers.
Yeah, well, you see, in the early sets that were 8-card packs, you just had the common and uncommon sheet, and the rarity was determined by how many times it was on the sheet. So you had, your uncommon 1s, your uncommon 3s, stuff like this. Alliances was a bit of a hybrid. It was a 12-card pack. The only other set I can remember that was ever a 12-card pack was Chronicles, which was a reprint set. In the Star Wars collectible card game, the rare sheet, you had basically rare 1 and rare 2s, except it was actually 2 copies on the sheet or 4 copies on the sheet. So there were things like that too in other games. It's a system that they've just gotten away from.
You know what?
I was hoping when I heard that they were bringing back smaller packs, like this Assassin's Creed, from what I hear, they're 7-card packs. I was hoping if they're going back to small packs like Fallen Empires and Homelands, that they would also mean they were cheaper packs that you could get off the shelf as a lower price point. But that immediately, I was suspicious once I found out it was going to be a set that was licensed. I was quite certain they weren't going that way. But I really think they could use a smaller, cheaper pack just as more variety on the shelf. I went looking for some Modern Horizons. I happened to see some on a store shelf the other day. And, in Canadian it was like $17 a pack, $18 a pack, something like that at Walmart. It's cheaper if you buy them from an actual card store and just buy them packs out of a box instead of individually packaged ones. But really, it's just so ridiculously expensive compared to the packs I remember. How much of a flop March of the Machines was, it's now a cheap pack? Well, I mean, there's that, I guess. Like I said, I haven't been following a lot of how it did. The only things other than the Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth stuff that I got recently was I picked up a single set booster of... why didn't I grab that? Since I already showed the Transformers cards and said how disappointing I found those as something to play with, just because I don't like the cards that you have to flip. I think that's designed for Magic Online, not for physical play. Because how do you play that? You can't put it in a deck unless you sleeve it. And then flipping things as you play sleeved is just gross. So.
Where is... Oh! I'm going to show something really quick. Just a second.
Yeah, somewhere it's around.
Oh, you weren't that far away.
This was the one pack I picked up a couple years ago
Never mind.
of Kaldheim. It reminded me thematically of Ice Age, so I thought it could be cool. So I decided to try a set booster, not knowing what on earth this was.
I got scratched. That wasn't like that before.
And so, as you can see, I already opened it a long time ago, and I just stuffed it back in the pack and put it away because it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. A new kind of booster, and yeah, I think it was like $12 or $13 even then for a single booster, which I found obnoxious. And it came with an art card, which I didn't really understand at the time, and still don't. I was kind of pleased to see that they'd brought back Snow-Covered Land. I've always liked Snow-Covered Lands, just thematically. I've heard some people say that they should do snow-covered versions of the dual lands, like Tega and Bayou and Tropical Island and all those. Because, a snow-covered tropical island makes a whole lot of sense. just as a way to reprint a distinct version of these cards from the reserve list that could use cheaper printings. I don't know. I'm mixed on that idea, but I do like Snowlands, and in part, it's just the different title. If we ever get to some of my deck techs, I'll show you why in one of those. It's got a very practical use, actually, with some of the combos that were going around. Yeah, I've heard they got rid of set packs. They go into like play packs or something now, where they combine with draft packs. Honestly, in my opinion, you can draft anything. So I don't get the whole making specific draft packs. I used to draft Fallen Empires. You can draft anything. This pack threw me, in part because almost all the cards in here are green. So I was like, okay, is it supposed to be a theme pack around a color? Is that what this was? I just didn't get it. A snow creature, elf rogue, untap a snow land.
I don't even really like the art on that one. Like,
2/2
it's
for.
weird.
It is a little bit weird. Snow elf, whatever. Then there was glittering frost. 3 enchant land. Enchant land is snow, so you can turn a land into a snow land. A bit weird. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana,
like
its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. I mean, it's not a useless effect.
I do like the art on that one, though.
The art is nice. I'll give it that.
Again, I'm about the art.
Set packs did have theme packs for certain sets. Okay. Jasper Sentinel, 1 for 1/2 reach, and tap an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color. Another mana elf type thing. Except you had to tap 2 creatures to get it, but whatever. It was a bit bigger and had reach, so it was not its primary effect. And then we had a Dusk Wielder. Again, a 1 for a 1/2. Boast 1. Target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Activate this ability only if the creature attacked this turn and only once each turn. So, yeah. And power creep is obvious compared to all the old sets I'm used to. Power creep was obvious, but long before I stopped playing. Actually, it was one of the things that, when Innistrad came out, it wasn't the last set I got, but it was one of the things that started to bug me at that time was the double-sided cards, because they just seemed too much of a hassle to actually put in your deck and play with. I don't like that at all. Anyway, it really seems to me they were meant for Magic Online or something, not actual card games, which is the point of the game in my opinion. I don't want to play cards digitally. I mean, I've done it. I've played Solitaire, and I used to have a cribbage game on the computer, but it's just not for this type of card game. Masked Vandal, Changeling, they brought that back multiple times, I guess. When Masked Vandal enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you exile an artifact or enchantment, if you do exile it, yeah. So it's a way to get rid of artifacts and enchantments. It's a shapeshifter. Obviously, they had to get rid of walls as a type because Changeling was going to mess with that. All of a sudden, your Changelings can't attack. Anyway. Power creep is insane from Modern Horizons 3. I've heard it's got some good cards. I've heard it's got some potentially broken cards, but I don't know. I'm not too interested in Modern these days. Blizzard Brawl. Snow Sorcery. Choose target creature you control. That creature you don't control. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, that creature you control gets +1/+0 and indestructible until end of turn. Other creatures fight. Then those creatures fight each other. Fighting each other is another whole, simplified version of something certain cards could do. Here's another green creature. Like I said, most of this whole pack was green. It just struck me as being very weird. Spirit of Adelgard. 0/4 Bear Spirit for 4. When Spirit of Adelgard enters the battlefield, search your library for a snow land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library, and the spirit gets +1 attack for each other snow permanent you control. I did make a snow deck back when Cold Snap came out. I thought that was fun. I liked the fact that they went back and actually finished the Ice Age block. Homelands was never designed to be part of Ice Age block at all. Blocks weren't even a thing back when they made Ice Age and Alliances. That didn't really start until Mirage, and then they retroactively went back and applied it to Ice Age. Alliances was neat because it was the first time they'd done sort of a set sequel, and that was it. It wasn't meant to be a block at that time, and it's arguable that it's not even really a block with Cold Snap, but at least it's closer than Homelands. Anyway. Yeah, a broke deck won the first big tournament. Pros say that it's going to have to be banned. On-theme deck. LOL. Boreal Outrider.
I like that one too. I like the animal arts. They're neat.
Yeah, I heard they did something in recent sets with a bunch of elk in one of the sets or something, or someone was joking about it anyway. I don't know if it's true. Anyway, 3/2 for 3. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow mana of any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Snow mana is from a snow source. And then we've got Toski, Bearer of Secrets, as the rare.
Sure, this is charged pretty good. I'm just going to take the charge cord. Unplug your iPad in because it's...
Again, another green thing. 4 for a 1/1. The spell can't be countered. It's indestructible. Attacks each combat if able, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. You know, it's a thingy. It's not very strong, but it's indestructible, and it can't, you know, if you don't deal with it or have something to keep blocking it with, it's gonna be drawing you cards.
What the heck is that? Is that its tail, or is that a paper? What is this blue thing?
I don't know. I think it's a tail. Maybe some sort of ruined wing. Like, I don't know. It's a squirrel, apparently.
That is weird.
It is weird.
I do not like the art.
I mean, it could be interesting. I mean, I won't say it's outright stinks or anything, but it's strange. It could draw a card. Anyway, then I've got a Finn, the Fangbearer, which is a different bordered card.
The art could have been neat on that one, but it seems like it's a little too busy.
Human Warrior, 1/3, Death Touch. Whenever a creature with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Which is kind of neat, to turn your Death Touchers into poison creatures. It's interesting, at least. I'll give it that. Legendary. And then I got a foil Raiders Carve, which is a boat artifact vehicle. Yeah, vehicles I find a little strange to begin with. To begin. What am I saying? I just find vehicles strange. 4 for 3. Whenever Raiders Carve attacks, look at the top 3 cards of your library. If it's a look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. So it's an explorer boat. And you have to tap any number of creatures you control with total power 3 or more to make this vehicle an artifact creature until end of turn. And then I got a Dwarf Berserker token. So yeah, that's what I saw for the first pack I had bought in years. What set did this come out in? Or what year did it? 2021. So, yeah. And it was interesting. I was glad to see they went back to sort of snow and ice age type stuff. But nothing here really caught my interest enough to get back into it. And like I said, I looked at the Transformers cards, and I like them as Transformers, but I don't like it as Magic cards. I wouldn't want to play with that, so
It really
that
was-
didn't get me back into the game either.
It wasn't really until Lord of the Rings that we got.
Well, that's the thing. Even Lord of the Rings, it interested me enough that I've been like trying to put together most of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle Earth set.
Yeah.
But, and I'd probably build a couple of decks with the cards. But it's not enough to get me back into the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Because the price is ridiculous. How
Yeah.
they do sets to try to collect anything, I find that absolutely ridiculous too. And then there's also, like, why do they have to renumber the whole set just because they put different foil treatment or different frame on them or something?
Yeah.
Like, it's so frustrating as a collector. As a player, I don't like some of the rule changes that I discovered. Like, I know it's been a while, I'm out of touch, whatever. But it just seems stupid to me that you can have 4 different Frodos with different titles, and I can have them all in play, and my opponent can have them all in play. And that seems so counterintuitive. The whole point of legendary creatures was it was special. It was only supposed to be 1 in play. Like, the One Ring is disgustingly priced on the secondhand market. Yes, it sure is. And guess what's one of the only mythics I haven't pulled out of a pack? The One Ring. Like,
Yeah.
which means
Well,
I'm not going to be buying one to finish out the set. I hope we've got a few more packs. I hope I can pull one, but
If we do end up opening that,
I'm not planning on buying a whole lot more of that set either.
Are we planning on opening the booster box you bought, or are we gonna keep that sealed?
I think we're planning on opening it.
Yeah, because maybe we'll find something in there.
I've never opened it and gotten a Realms of... Yeah. I used to... Cars is like cards.
Okay.
So that's why I use this
So
binder for my collection
I
at
found
one point.
I did find somebody that we could raid. He just came back on. He's the one I actually won a slap on. He's
Okay.
coming back live again.
Anyway,
We'll
this
raid.
was a talk of Portal 3 Kingdoms. That's what this stream was for, mainly. Thanks for everyone who joined us. And I just love the set. I love the horsemanship. I love some of the other flavors. And I was glad I was able to share some of my thoughts and my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed.
So yeah, stick around for a minute. We're gonna raid somebody who is. I just won a card on his channel. He just got 400 subs tonight, and I think it'd be nice to help him out. But
I just noticed these two
yeah,
cards have the same artist. Does it look like these two guys are riding the same horse?
no,
Okay.
that horse is lighter, and
Okay.
this guy looks weird with the arms. But
They got similar markings, though.
yeah, but it's not. This horse is lighter, and I think it's different.
Yeah. The mane is... Yeah. Anyway.
So, we do. If you are interested in seeing some of Barry's older sets, we've got some other lives where he shared. What were the other ones you shared? Homelands.
Homelands, I went through Fallen Empires. I went through not a full set of the Dark because I only had a common set of the Dark, but I threw in what other cards I had available at the time. YouTube
Oh, yes.
Watch. That's the link for the raid.
Yes, that is the one. Tank, thank you. But yeah, so just a quick recap here. You can go to that link anytime, but yeah, make sure you sub up if you want to get in on future giveaways. Once we hit 1K, whenever we get ready for that, we're going to do a few giveaways. Some will be Magic, some will be Pokemon, and who knows what else. But
Yeah, I'm hoping to do some Star Trek and some more Lord of the Rings.
yeah, and when you
related
go over
stuff.
to this guy, say Spocat Raid.
We'd appreciate that.
We'd appreciate that, and give him some love. Hit a like, and yeah, have some fun.
Yep.
So, anyways, was there anything else you wanted to say, or are we good?
I think we're good.
All right, so thank you everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And when we're done, we're going to make sure that this live is public, so feel free to leave a comment at what other stuff you'd like us to see or to show you, whether it is Magic the Gathering or one of the many other TCGs or CCGs we have.
Thank you so much, Tank. We appreciate you. Thank you, Becca. You are amazing. I know Void, our other mod, is over at that other live stream right now. So
Attack.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, head over there, and we'll see you there in a bit. Thank you.
Swing for 5. Can we get 5 in the other stream?
Get over there. We're gonna give you enough time to hit that link.
I'm gonna draw a card. Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye for now. Appreciate you.
Good night. Bye for now.
I'll make sure I post that link. Okay.